6 p.m. I'd like to call this meeting to order. And if you will rise as you are able, let's do the Pledge of Allegiance to our country. Thank you. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And if we could ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Councilmember Farrar Rivas, Vice Mayor Gurney, Councilmember Wellender,
Here.
Councilmember Dean,
Here.
Mayor Lowe.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay. We do have a process by which people who are not in the building can participate via Zoom. You can find that link on the website. You can also watch it streaming on the local news channel. There was no closed session. We'll move to the agenda, and I'll ask for a motion or any changes to the agenda as written.
I would like to make a motion to approve today's agenda.
The motion to approve the agenda is made by Councilmember Ding. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Farrar Rivas. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, can we call the roll, please?
Councilmember Farrar Rivas,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Gurney,
Yes.
Councilmember Wellender,
Yes.
Councilmember Dean,
Aye.
Mayor Lowe.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries unanimously.
See, we're off to a great start. We've already got unanimous motions, and that seems like a good way to start any meeting. At this point, I'd like to open up to comments from the public. The public is invited to make comments on items that do not appear on the agenda. The items that appear on the agenda, there will be public comment at that time. We give 3 minutes for public comment. I will be as courteous as possible in letting you know your 3 minutes are up, but when they're up, they're up. So please remind yourself of that when speaking. And if you have any questions for staff or any of these members, you may pose those questions, but we are not going to respond. It's not because we don't like you or we don't have a good answer to your question. It's just that engaging in questions from the public on items that may not be on the agenda would not be in order. So I invite you to make your comments on anything that's not on the agenda at this time. Is there anyone from the public? Please come forward and just introduce yourself by name is all and speak into the microphone. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name's Joel Hoyt, H-O-Y-T, of Glen Ellen, California. As you all know, making appointments to the different agencies and councils is part of the duty of the mayor and the council members. And there's been one council that has been left vacant since last summer that I'm aware of, and that's the Climate Action Council. And I'm here to just ask you to put it at the very top of your list to get to. I think I and a bunch of others would appreciate that. What it feels like it's like a bit of a microcosm, I feel, for the way the developed world is dealing with the problem of climate change. There always seems to be something else to get to, some fire to put out. And the time really is past to make progress on this, and I really want to encourage everyone to take the appointments to that seriously. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you for coming. Are there any other comments from the audience? Please.
I'm going to keep one so I don't get too nervous.
All right, if you hand it to the clerk, she'll be happy to distribute those for us. Thank you so much.
My name is, I go by Conrad, but my first name is Ari. You have an easy surname, last name, Hoyt. Mine is Scheurkogel, Scheurkogel. I have a house here in Sonoma, but I live on the East Coast, and I flew in today. We have arranged with a tree removal guy. My wife has all the technical names. To remove 2 trees, and then when we did an application with, I would say, probably the council, we found that there was a tree committee, and the tree committee was diluted. So there's one request: can we bring the committee back? 2, you'll see in the report the 2 trees. There's actually 3, but it's pretty expensive to remove the trees. So there's 2 that's really encroaching upon the house, and we need to have them removed because they're moving into the foundation of the house, and they're actually lifting the side curb as well. So the request is, 1, for a tree committee to come back into action, 2, to vote upon removal of the trees. I have spoken to Mr. Berger. I think he has seen some of the details of the, I think you call it the arborist. The arborist says the trees needs to be removed. Please look at the report. And Mr. Berger, I don't want to put unnecessary pressure on him. He's in agreement that it's potentially going to affect the structure of the house. And anyway, that's my request. So I'll be back in beautiful Sonoma. I'm actually from Stellenbosch in South Africa, which is exactly the same as Sonoma. That's why I love the place so much. But anyway, long story short, I'll probably be back January, February when the vote goes through. I'm an optimist. Thank you very much. Nice meeting all.
Thank you for coming.
Yes.
Okay. Are there any other comments from the public? If not in the room, are there any from on Zoom?
No, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll close that. The next item is meeting dedications, and for the benefit of the council, typically the meeting dedications have to do with honoring people who have passed, and we'd like to commemorate them by dedicating the meeting to them. So at this point, I'd like to ask if anyone has a dedication that they would like to put forward tonight. Okay, seeing none, we'll move to presentations. The first one is recognition of outgoing Police Chief Orlando Rodriguez on his retirement, and I would like to have the acting city manager please give us some nice words.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It is my privilege to recognize the retirement and service contributions of Orlando Rodriguez as a police chief for the Sonoma Police Department, who's been here since July of 2018. Orlando started his career in law enforcement as a police officer with the city of Petaluma in 1995, and he joined the Sonoma County Sheriff's Office in 1999 and served as one of the first deputies to work in Sonoma when the Sheriff's Office began providing law enforcement services to the city in 2004. Orlando earned promotions to Sheriff's Sergeant in 2014 and Sheriff's Lieutenant in March of 2018. His long career serving in various roles and positions, including patrol division, traffic enforcement, domestic violence investigations, crisis negotiations, drug and crime scene investigations, supervisor of patrol operations, personnel and administration, all within the sheriff office, along with many other specialty areas, is a testament to his broad skills and commitment to law enforcement. Chief Rodriguez has strengthened community relationships through his skillful team building and community-oriented philosophy and has provided outstanding leadership for law enforcement, for the law enforcement community within Sonoma Valley. We are thankful for Orlando's compassion, his leadership, and many years of service to the city of Sonoma, and wish him all the best in his next chapter of his life. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Is Chief Rodriguez here?
He is not here.
I didn't. He's on his way?
Stuck in traffic.
That traffic, I'm telling you. Okay, so we have a lovely plaque to award to him when he does get here, but is it the pleasure of the council that we wait until he arrives and move on to the next introduction so that we can bring greetings at that time? I think that's fair. Okay, very good. So we have the pleasure of introducing our new police chief, Brandon Cutting, and again, this acting, oh, well, you know, talk about making a grand entrance.
Orlando, you missed all the nice things I said about you.
Yes, but there, you know, you can replay it on YouTube or something, I'm sure. And
Orlando,
over and over again, right?
Would you please come up to the podium, please?
Yes, please.
And Madam Mayor, if you'd present the plaque.
Yes,
and-
I'm so pleased to present this Distinguished Service Award to Orlando Rodriguez from the city of Sonoma, and I'll present it at this time. Thank you so much. And a handshake. I'll give you all. That's all.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, if you just stand. Rebecca would like to take a picture.
Sure.
May I be in your picture?
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you. Because we, I'm sure, like to say a few words while you're.
Well, thank you very much. God, it's been 4 years, and I've learned a lot in those 4 years. I really appreciate this town. Like I've said before, when the sheriff's office took over this contract for law enforcement services, we were basically told that we had to come here and work because there wasn't many volunteers that wanted to come here, and I was one of them. And it's probably the best thing I was ever ordered to do because within weeks, everybody that came here fell in love with it. With the people, with everything that Sonoma represents. I always joke that people waved at us with all their fingers, right? And that was Sonoma. It's like people wave at you. And I'm like, people are waving at me here, right? That's great, you know? So ever since then, I worked for Vice Mayor Gurney for a year. And ever since then, I lasted 4 years, and I got promoted out of here. And eventually, I got promoted to sergeant and came back here as a sergeant. And then eventually, when Brett retired, I put in for chief, and I was selected. And it was fast learning, and you know, we went through a lot of things: the fires, power shutoffs, the murder of George Floyd, the protest, and then of course COVID. But through all that, we survived, and I think our police department, the personnel that were out here working for me, did a great job through all that, through all those things. Very positive. And Logan's not here, but when I first met Logan, we had a difference of opinions regarding law enforcement. And, when somebody told me, it's like, you know what, you just have to go out there and show them what you were all about. And I did. He came in here into my office. We met together, and I had Sergeant Barras give him a ride-along and opened his eyes a little bit. And then eventually he went on a ride-along with our SRO just so he can see what we do at the schools, that we don't arrest kids. That's the last thing we want to do. We use youth and family services, right? We don't want to take kids to juvenile hall. We want to help them. And after he met Eric, he just changed his ways, and he really realized what a great department he had here in Sonoma. And so I encourage all of you to meet with your new chief one-on-one, take 20, 30 minutes, have coffee, come to your department. It's yours. Come and look at it. Come and say hi to them. Come and say hi to the deputies. And get to know us a little bit better. Because I think that will go a long way. You've selected a great chief. I've had an opportunity to work with him many times. And I always say he's kind of like me, but you have to squared. So he's that much better, right? And I see a lot of good opportunities for him with this new council today, with the new city manager. When you get a new city manager, and I could just see you guys, the city moving forward, and him moving forward and making this place better. I can't stop hearing from him saying that this is a great place. He loves it, and I think you're going to love him, and I think the city's going to love him too. So thank you very much for the 4 years, and I definitely want to thank the taxpayers. Without them, we wouldn't be here. Without them, I wouldn't have a lovely home, a great family. We are, fire safety, police, we're all tax base. And I think they appreciate that because they saw that during the fires, during everything we've been through. What a great job we did. And most of all, I just want to thank the team that you have working for you. They do a great job. Wayne, I don't know when he gets sleep. I told Rebecca before, I go, when you stay till 9, 10 o'clock sometimes, and then you're here the next morning. I go, how do you do it? But everybody, I think that Brandon, your new chief, is going to like working with everybody, the new staff and everybody here and with you. So again, thank you very much. I appreciate the city. I appreciate the valley, the people here, and my deputies, most of all, my sergeants, my staff, that, leadership, they always say thank you. I go, but they say leadership starts at the top, but selecting good people, letting them go do what they need to do to make you look good, right? And they have. And I really appreciate them a lot. So thank you very much, and we'll see you around.
And I know that there might be some other comments from the city council regarding this retirement. So please, the floor is open if anyone likes to make a comment. Yes, Vice Mayor, please.
Well, Orlando, I remember way back, and the whole team that came out here from the sheriff's office was outstanding. And we actually had a lot of fun that first year making this transition. And you've done a terrific job in the years that you've served as chief. And I know Youth and Family Services truly appreciate all the work that you've done with the kids. So thank you. Are you really retiring?
Not yet.
Okay, all right. Well, when you really do, enjoy it. You deserve it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Any other comments?
I have.
Yes, please, Mr. Ding.
I would like to say thank you on behalf of Sonoma Overnight Support. When we have the board member, almost every time they mention about you, how you can help us to take care of the homeless community people in Sonoma. And not only you take the action and the work and the enforcement, the most important thing, you got an education for our community. And you deeply understand the law and some of the court cases, what are they implying. So that our community and could treat our homeless people as part of the community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilmember Ding. Any other comments? Yes, please.
I'll just make a short comment, and I can only speak for myself, but I'm sure there are others, that I have enjoyed living in a safe community, and I want to thank you for being successful, granting us that community.
For our Ritas, please.
Yeah, I just want to thank you. We don't know each other personally, but I've heard really wonderful things about you, and I have to also congratulate you on when the demonstrations happened in regards to George Floyd. I was just so very impressed with Sonoma and how the students that organized those demonstrations were allowed to have those demonstrations. It was wonderful. Thank you.
So I'm hearing, all kinds of praises. It's just wonderful that you're going to get to retire and on such a good note from everybody, because I just go back to what you say about waving with all 5 fingers. I mean, that means so much. I would be grateful if, my tenure as mayor, I could even begin to say the same thing, because I don't even think it'll last a day. But that being said, I wish you all the best in your retirement. You most honestly deserve it, and thank you so much for your service. It's such a thankless task that you do, and I appreciate it greatly. And having worked at Sonoma High School, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I know the differences that you make in lives. And sometimes hard choices have to be made, but that's the way things are, and that's how we get responsible adults. And so thank you for your contribution as well. At this point, if there's anyone in the audience who would also like to say something with regard to this wonderful news of retirement, please come forward. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm here on behalf, my name is Rebecca Hermosillo. I'm here on behalf of Congressman Mike Thompson, just to wish Orlando best wishes in the future, to thank him for his service. He's done an outstanding job, and just to thank him for his friendship. He's been an amazing friend. We talk often, and so I just want to say thank you on behalf of the congressman and me. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? Yes, please.
This is the only time I'll comment tonight. Robert Demler, First Street West, Sonoma. I don't attend every council meeting, but by chance, I was here at the chief's first council meeting and met him. And we haven't met in between these 4 years, so one of us is doing a great job. Thank you for my...
Well done.
Hi, Steve Aker, Fire Chief, and also a longtime Sonoma resident. And through the chair, through the council, I just want to say thank you for everything that you've done for our community. You have led with your heart from the very beginning. That was very evident, and continues to be your commitment to the safety and well-being of our community, of your deputies, and all of us partners, community partners, is remarkable. And we've been through a lot together, both in emergency situations and as well as just part of an amazing management team. And I have the utmost respect for you and admiration for the job that you do, and wish you nothing but the very best in retirement. And I look forward to working with Brandon into the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Aker. All right, are there any more comments from the public on this item? Okay, hearing none. Again, thank you so much, Chief Rodriguez. And now we have the pleasure of introducing our new police chief, Brandon Cutting. And again, if I could ask the acting city manager to please introduce this item.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and come on up to the podium, Brandon. It's an honor to introduce and welcome Lieutenant Brandon Cutting, the new City of Sonoma Police Chief. Lieutenant Cutting is an 18-year veteran of the Sonoma County Sheriff's Department, where he started in 2005 as a deputy, and in the patrol division worked in street gang enforcement, violent crime investigations, and a collateral assignment to the sheriff's SWAT team for nearly 16 years. As sergeant and lieutenant, Brandon supervised those same units and spent 2 years working in the Professional Standards Unit as a manager of internal affairs, the liaison for the Independent Office of Law Enforcement Review and Outreach, and he was a use of force manager and a policy manager for the Sheriff's Office. Brandon and his wife live in Sonoma County and have 3 sons, and we welcome Brandon as the new police chief for the city of Sonoma and look forward to his leadership and guidance. Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you so much, and very welcome. So if you'd like to say a few words, and then I know you've got some big shoes to fill after you hear all that, but please.
I have some very big shoes to fill, and I do have a few words. First, I'd like to begin by thanking the City Council and the City Management for selecting me as the Chief of Police. Chief Rodriguez has continued to serve this community as Chief Sackett, Chief Day, and Chief Gurney did before. There were others beyond that whom I don't know. I recognize that the City of Sonoma has been very careful in the selection of those who came before me, as they were in their selection of me. One thing that was extremely clear to me through this interview process that I participated in was that the community of Sonoma wants a chief that represents the City Council, the City Management, and the community with a sense of service, compassion, and commitment. During the City Council swear-in last week, I sat in the audience and listened as each of the outgoing council members and you, the incoming council members, spoke. What was extremely clear was a sense of service, love, and respect for this community. I heard as each of you spoke about your years of service to the various committees and organizations that make up this community. It was so very impressive to me. On a parallel comparison to the City Council, I can easily explain that the job of law enforcement in your community is also based on service. The men and women of your police department are some of the most professional law enforcement personnel in this state. As your chief of police, I am standing in front of you as a leader of the staff that has more than 180 years of experience. The experiences are from all ends of law enforcement and have served communities of all sizes throughout Northern California. This experience is the City of Sonoma's gain. It is through those experiences that we are better prepared to deal with problems that are simple to complex situations that may take days or even weeks to resolve. I am proud to work for all of you and for all of them, being the department, representing the hard work and dedication that they give to you. Over the next few months, I will be working to meet with the various neighborhood groups, business associations, businesses, and individuals that want to speak with me about the Sonoma Police Department. This is your agency, and it is through those conversations that I will be able to ensure that the department is truly engaged with all of the will and needs of the community. If you want to talk about an issue, and that goes to anybody, please contact me. I would rather discuss differences in person and come to a resolution over ever wondering what could have happened if we had talked. Thank you all again for this opportunity, and I'm so very excited for the opportunity to work with such an amazing group of people in a historically rich and environmentally beautiful place. Orlando mentioned that he's been hearing from me a lot. I've been in Sonoma. I started last Monday at some meetings with the city, and I've been seated in the office more or less since Wednesday. And I can tell you that this is the most amazing secret that Sonoma County has. If you've never worked out here, as I hadn't prior to coming out as the chief, you don't know the beauty that this place has. The city management, I've never met a more friendly organizational group of people than I have since I've been here. Listening to you all speak last week, I have never heard a more dedicated group of professionals who are representing the city and the community, and I'm very impressed. I am very pleased to be out here, and I'm looking forward to a nice long career out here. So thank you all for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate your heartfelt words. So are there any comments from the council?
Yeah, I
Yes,
just want to
Councilmember
say
Dean.
welcome
Thank you,
to out in the beautiful city of Sonoma. Now, when we the first time interview with you, and the first impression is lasting forever. So you give us very good impression. We know you love the city and want to fulfill your duty. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
I just want to welcome you. It's going to be a good opportunity for you, and look forward to working with you. So,
Thank you, sir.
Yes, please.
Also, just want to welcome you and look forward to meeting with you and getting to know you and welcoming your family into the heart of the city of Sonoma.
Thank you
You
very
and your
much.
family both.
Mr. Wellender.
Something. I hope you fall madly in love with this town, that you never want to leave it.
Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you. I think this has been a wonderful transition, and thank you so much again for Chief Rodriguez, and we welcome you, and I hope that I have a chance. I'm going to take you up on your offer. I have nothing in dispute to discuss with you. I just like to get to know you better. I was honored to be on the interview committee and getting to know you at that time, but I look forward to more. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Are there any comments from the public on this item before we move on? Okay, thank you. Thank you again. So we are now at the consent calendar, and I'd like to know if there are any polls from the consent calendar before I ask for public comment. Any questions or polls from the council? They're seeing none. How about any comments from the public on the consent calendar? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the consent calendar.
move to approve consent calendar.
Motion by Vice Mayor Gurney,
I second to approve the consent calendar.
and a second by Councilmember Farrar Rivas. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, if the clerk would please call the roll.
Councilmember Farrar Rivas,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gurney,
Yes.
Councilmember Wellender,
Yes.
Councilmember Dean,
Aye.
Mayor Lowe.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. We now have a public hearing, and so I call this public hearing to order at 6:32. This public hearing was continued from December 7th at the council meeting, and it is to discuss, consider, and possible action to introduce an ordinance amending the Sonoma Municipal Code, amending Title 14, Section 14.27.030 definitions, to align the definition of a duplex with recent changes to Chapter 19.2 definitions, Title 9, Chapter 19.10, zones and allowable uses, to ensure consistency between 19.10 and 19.40.050 hillside development, regarding the requirement for a single-family residence to obtain a use permit in the Hillside Residential RHS zoning district, and any other minor corrections, and amending Section 19.44.060 continued availability to clarify terms of affordability, and finding such amendments exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, pursuant to Section 15061B3, General Rule of the CEQA Guidelines. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to staff. I see our assistant planner there to bring a presentation. Thank you so much,
Thank you. Planner
Tierney. Thank
We
you.
just need to, can you press the button for the presentation? Sorry, I'll let you do that. Thank you, and I'll take this opportunity to apologize for our titles. I think the zoning code amendment titles, I feel sorry for you council members every time they're super, super long. I'll just get started. And for a little background for Vice Mayor Gurney and for Council Member Farrar Rivas, the zoning code amendments have been ongoing for the last 2 years. We've been working very hard to ensure that our development code is aligned with state law. As you may be aware, Sacramento's been passing many housing laws to try to streamline housing. And
planning department, planning commission, city council are required to rely on objective development standards, not subjective standards like we want your building to look beautiful or incompatible with the neighborhood. And the zoning code amendments are a little bit like whack-a-mole, where you do one round of amendments and then later on you'll find somewhat unintended consequence. And so the round of amendments that are before you this evening, it's a little cleanup round that was identified back in October. We obviously, with so many hundreds of pages of code, there can be inconsistencies. And one of the inconsistencies that was identified by the council was an inconsistency in our zones and allowable uses table and our hillside development guidelines. So in our hillside development guidelines, there is a requirement for single-family residences to obtain a use permit. And when you looked at the table was showing that it was a permitted use and did not require a use permit. So that was really the inception for this round, was to clean that up. And at the same time, we used this opportunity to address some other issues that were in the table as well. Somehow down the line, a lot of the references to some of the special use sections were incorrect. So if you look at our zones and allowable uses table, you have the residential uses, commercial uses, mixed use, so you might have a bed and breakfast, a hotel, and then far over to the right, there will be numbers. So it'll be 1950-035 for a bed and breakfast, or 040 for a formula business. And actually our code company caught that error, so that's part of the cleanup for that table. And then another issue that we're hoping to clean up is trying to be very clear about the terms of our affordable housing agreements. There's been a lot of focus on our affordable housing program in recent years. Going back to the 1990s, when our affordable housing program was first implemented, the term was 30 years. And over time, we've slowly increased those from 30 years to 35 years to 40, and most recently 55 years. In 2001, we amended the code to be in perpetuity. And so one of the cleanups is just making sure that it's really clear. There's a provision in there to have a difference between publicly funded projects and privately funded projects, and so we're trying to simplify. I pretty much went through all of that. And so the changes before City Council this evening, this did go before Planning Commission, and they unanimously recommended approval. So the change in Title 14, which is 1427-030, this is actually a solar rooftop provision in the code to streamline solar developments. And this is kind of the whack-a-mole I was talking about. We changed the definition of a duplex in our zoning code. And one of our members of the public identified that in this other section, other title, there was a different definition for duplexes. So we'll be streamlining those to use the same definition moving forward. I went over the changes for 1910 and 1940-050. And as I mentioned also, those minor amendments to those special use sections in the code, and that really summarizes what we're going through. So I have the changes in front of you really briefly, but I know we have a long agenda. So, so this is just changing the principally permitted to a UP. This is where the existing code is requiring a use permit. And I'm just going to skip over all this because I know you have a long night. If council were to introduce the ordinance this evening, staff would come back in January 2023. Once the calendar is updated, we'll have a better idea of when that would be. After adoption, the ordinance would go into effect 30 days later. And staff is available for questions.
Thank you so much. Before we ask the public for any comments, are there any questions? Now let's only questions, then we'll come back for comments from the council. Any questions of Planner Tierney regarding this? Yes, sir. Thank you for raising your hand so quietly and nicely. I appreciate that. Teacher, I did.
I knew you'd be a teacher.
Yeah, of course.
I appreciate that.
I
Just a quick clarification, and I'm not sure how to reference this directly. Page 7, it says on my document, there down near the bottom, it says single-family dwellings, and there's a hyphen and a parentheses and 5 parentheses.
Parentheses 5. Oh, what,
Let's make sure we have the same page.
Footnote 5 says one existing single residence on an existing lot of record is allowed.
So that was a footnote.
yeah,
Okay.
That's a
yeah.
reference to
Throughout
the
the
footnote.
throughout the code, there are little footnotes, and then at the bottom, there's 1 through 7
So I think that's the one that relates to single-family homes, is that right, Vice Mayor?
Mm-hmm.
in mixed use.
In mixed use, so
Mhm.
it's providing that if you have a single-family home in a mixed-use zone, you can continue using that single-family home as long as you're there.
Okay, thank you.
Very good, thank you for the clarification. Are there any other further questions before we ask for public comment? Yes.
Yeah, I
Ms.
have a
Regan.
question, just make sure it stays on. And looking up on page 3, where it shows multifamily dwellings, 4 or fewer units, and multifamily dwellings, 5 or more units, I had looked that up and thought that under, I did some of my homework, so I could be completely off on this, but I'm a newbie on these ones. But I had thought that for, let's see, where are my notes on this? Right here. Oh, here, for RS, that could be 3 to 8 units on the multifamily dwellings for RS. And then here, it
So I-
says 4 or fewer, it doesn't say like can be permitted under, oh, so that's use permit required.
Correct. Yeah. So I think the 3 to 8 is, I believe, is the density for residential Sonoma. So the density is how many units per acre you can have under our land use designations. What this table is saying, it's really a kind of walks a planner or a member of the public through what type of permit is required. And when we're looking at 4 or fewer or 5 or more, it's really closely tied to the Subdivision Map Act. So the Subdivision Map Act has different requirements if you're talking about 4 parcels or less or 5 or more. And so for example, if you look in the medium density residential, so 4 or fewer units would be principally permitted. So that could go straight to a building permit, where 5 or more would require a use permit.
Okay.
So the density is still the same for each zoning district.
Okay, great. Thank
Yeah,
you.
my
Thank you for
pleasure.
that clarification.
Very good. Are there any further questions before we ask for public comment? Okay. Okay, at this point, any members of the public wishing to make comment during this public hearing? Any members of the public on Zoom?
No, Madam Mayor.
No. So seeing none, we'll bring the public hearing is closed, and we will bring this back to the council for action, possible action, to introduce this ordinance. So at this point, do you have any comments regarding this? And if there are no comments, we can entertain a motion. Yes, Mr. Willander.
Just a brief comment, and it's not content, but it's more graphics. Seeing as how I am a lover of tactile paper, I would love to suggest, if we're going to continue to produce it in tactile paper, that we go ahead and copy the header on each page so one doesn't have to keep flipping back and forth, just in terms of ease of reference. So thank you. That's my comment.
Excellent suggestion. Any other further comments regarding this item? Okay, seeing none, this is an item that could be moved as an introduction at the pleasure of the council if a motion is in order. Yes, Mr. Ding?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would like to take the motion to approve, to introduce the ordinance. I will not, do I need to?
I don't think you need to repeat it.
I don't need.
You should at least summarize the
All
name
right.
of the ordinance. You don't have to talk
So
about the
the-
CEQA finding.
The motion to introduce an ordinance amending the Sonoma Municipal Code amending Title 14, Section 14.27, 030 definition to align the definition of a duplex with the recent changes to the change 19.92 definition. The Title 19, Chapter 19.10 zone and allowable use to ensure consistency between 19.10 and the 19.40 050 hillside development regarding requirement for a single-family residence to obtain a use permit in the hillside residential RHS zoning district and other minor correction and amending section 19.44 060 to clarify the term affordability and then finding that such amendment exempt from seeker.
Thank you. We have a motion from Councilmember Ding to introduce this ordinance. Is there a second?
Not if I have to read it again.
Guaranteed you don't.
I will second the motion.
Okay, seconded by Vice Mayor Gurney. Are there any questions on the motion? Seeing none, if the clerk could call the roll, please.
Councilmember Farrar Rivas,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gurney,
Yes.
Councilmember Wellender,
Yes.
Councilmember Dean,
Aye.
Mayor Lowe.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Through the mayor, if I may, just to
Please.
explain my advice, if you go back to item 4.1, at every meeting, the council makes a motion and approves reading ordinances by title only. So just be thankful that you don't have to read the entire ordinance, which you otherwise would have had to do under the government.
Well, we're so grateful for that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, we're at our regular calendar, and again, we will follow the same process that we've been doing in asking for a staff report, asking for questions, going to the public, and then comments and motions. And I think it's all going swimmingly, so I shouldn't have to explain that anymore. So we're at item 6.1, which is discussion, consideration, and possible action to adopt a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sonoma appointing Wayne Wyrick as acting city manager from December 5th, 2022 through January 1st, 2023, agreeing to pay Wayne Wyrick a salary for that period equal to the city manager's salary, and approving and implementing an adjustment in the salary and wages of the position of Development Services Director, Building Official. And if I could ask the Assistant City Attorney to please elaborate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David Ruderman, City Attorney. As you know, the City Council did offer Wayne Wyrick, who is the city's Development Services Director and Building Official, the position of acting city manager through January 1st. Mr. Wyrick is amenable to serving on the condition that during his tenure as acting city manager, he is paid the city manager salary, which is an annualized version, $215,900, and that there's a compensation adjustment for the Development Services Director. The council previously approved on December 7th a 10% increase that was retroactive to August 17th. So before you this evening is the provision that would make that increase actually retroactive to July 1 as opposed to August 17th. While Mr. Wyrick exercises the duties of acting city manager, he will also continue to exercise the duties of the Development Services Director and Building Official. So before the council this evening is a resolution that memorializes this agreement. If the council approves it, then Mr. Wyrick will continue exercising these duties through January 1st, 2023.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions of the city attorney regarding this item? Seeing none. Are there any comments from the public regarding this item? Seeing none. Any questions, comments from Zoom?
No, Madam Mayor.
No. Okay, we'll return this to the council for any further comments or possibly a motion.
So I will move to adopt a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sonoma, appointing Wayne Wyrick as acting center manager from December 5th, 2022 through January 1st, 2023, agreeing to pay Wayne Wyrick a salary for that period equal to the city manager's salary, and 3, approving and implementing an adjustment in the salary of the wages of the position of Development Services Director / Building Official, Assistant City Attorney. Recommendation is to adopt the resolution, so I'm moving.
Right. So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mr. Wellender. We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions or comments regarding the motion? Seeing none, will the clerk call the roll, please?
Councilmember Farrar Rivas.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gurney.
Aye.
Councilmember Wellender.
Yes.
Councilmember Dean.
Aye.
Mayor Lowe.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, and congratulations, and thank you so much to the acting city manager. We appreciate you very much.
Now you have to stay until 11 p.m.
All right, we're on item 6.2, which is discussion, consideration, and possible action to adopt a resolution approving the conditions for operations of Sonoma's Tuesday night market, 2023 market session, and vendor stall fee pricing. And I see Lisa Jansen there, a senior management analyst, to introduce this item. Thank you, Lisa.
So does this bother you? Do you want me to take this down?
If you're comfortable with it, I think we can
Okay.
survive as well.
So
Thank you.
good evening, Mayor Lowe and City Council members. I first want to take a moment and congratulate and welcome the new council members. I'm really looking forward to working with you, and I missed last week's meeting, so welcome. So tonight's item is a discussion of the 2023 Sonoma's Tuesday night market plans. In the staff report, I provided a very brief background of when the city took over the management of the Sonoma's Tuesday night market, how we launched the market during the COVID-19 pandemic, and have had to retool the market kind of ever since to keep up with the public health guidelines that were always evolving over the last few years. I'm happy to say that we finally made it through what I would call a more normal market. Our community event is back. We still have some issues to address, but we are feeling confident in our abilities to program and operate the Tuesday night market. So with that said, I want to kind of jump into our plans for next year. They include continuing our partnership with the Chamber of Commerce, and in addition, continuing to work with our current, or our market operations manager. Staff is recommending contracting with the same part-time contract market manager, Jerry Wheeler. Her responsibilities would include vendor coordination and communications on-site, setup and oversight, EBT coordination, and the on-site coordination and execution of our market events and programs. We will continue to build on the 22 market season. Attached for your review is the post-event report for the 22 market season. I'm not going to go over that right now unless you have specific questions. But based on our observations and in consultation with both the market manager and the Chamber of Commerce, staff is recommending some additional changes. We're proposing that the 2020 market season will kick off on May 2nd and run through September 26th. We are suggesting that because July 4th is occurring on the same day as the market, we will not be having the market that day. And in addition, this year, staff also plans the Sonoma City Party. And so it's becoming a little bit more difficult to plan two events the same week. So we're looking to take the first week of August off because the city party is typically the first Thursday of August. So those are kind of the two main changes to the schedule. Staff is also recommending that we're going to continue with the time frame, with the time frame or the hours of operations of 5 to 8 p.m. each night. This is really working out well for us. Having a concrete end to the market helps us kind of get the market patrons to go back home or go out to the restaurants, and helps us close the market. I don't know if you were aware, but the past market managers used to have this until sunset or it got dark. And so this really gives us a definitive time, and it has worked really well, especially in getting the vendors out while there's still some sunlight left in the day. So in 2021, we started a program which focused on connecting with our local nonprofits and providing them a spotlight during the market. In 2022, I believe we didn't do our best in executing this program. So one of the things I really want to work on with our Chamber of Commerce is really connecting again with our nonprofits. So I think we did a great job in 2021. And I'm looking forward to kind of putting effort back into that. So what that looks like is opening the market. We'd reach out to our nonprofit community, and we have 20 markets, so that allows us to kind of spotlight 20 local nonprofits and give them the opportunity to open the market, address the crowd prior to the band coming in, and then during intermission coming back and readdressing the crowd, sharing information if they have fundraising opportunities or needs, or just explaining what they do and what they provide to our community. So along with that, we'd also be offering them a 10 by 10 stall that they could man, and they could use it for a fundraising opportunity or which is not normally what is allowed in our nonprofit section. So let's see. In addition to the nonprofit coordination, we also want to bring back some more of the program themed programming. I don't know if you were aware, but this last year we had our local Hulamai, and we were able to work with Betty Ann Bruno, who was one of our treasure artists that happened during COVID, and so we gave her an opportunity to bring her and her dance troupe, and we had a beautiful Hawaiian-themed evening. This year we're looking to try to bring back a Mexican, or start a Mexican heritage event. So have a night that has more of a Mexican heritage feel to it with appropriate music, working with either Vida or La Luz. Some other thoughts that have come up recently is working also with, the city spends a lot of time on emergency preparedness and operations, and so September is Emergency Preparedness Month. So working with all of our co-ads and giving them an opportunity to come and have a section within the market that they can, educate, pass out materials, and just continue that conversation and bring it back to our community's attention during the market. So I'd like to move on to kind of the issues that we still need to address. They're in no particular order, but I did start with dogs. The market continues to have issues with dogs in the plaza, and we're trying to find ways to address this problem. The market team is approached each night with complaints about dogs in the plaza. It's posted everywhere, there's signage everywhere, people still bring their dogs, and the expectation is we're going to do something about it. The market does have to follow some pretty strict public health guidelines in around the food preparation area or where food is being served. So we really do try our best to encourage people with dogs to stay out of that specific area, but we are falling flat on trying to keep dogs out of the plaza. And so without code enforcement, it's almost impossible. And nowadays, everybody has a service dog. So, and there's rules around what you can ask. So with that said, I'm really looking forward to working with our new interim city manager in January and seeing if there's a way to help address this issue, if it's putting a poll out publicly and asking the public if they are for dogs, against dogs, if they want to have a section in the plaza for dogs and other sections without. There is a broad spectrum of responses that you receive. So I don't know if that's the right way to handle it. I see Mayor Lowe shaking her head going, no. But we definitely need to do something so that we can at least set an expectation that we are doing something on this issue. City staff has also started preliminary discussions with the market service providers. That's our waste management, our music coordination, our sound tech, and our security team. And we are finding that our general costs are increasing year over year. Even down one market, everything seems to be going up. So we're looking to make a policy change and included as part of Exhibit A, there's a redlined version in your packets. That's the conditions for operations of the Tuesday night market, and we're looking to remove the item that identifies that the market will contribute $10,000 in revenue back to the city. It's a city-owned event or produced event to cover the plaza use. So this was part of a policy that predated us, the city taking on the management of the market. And so we're looking for approval to strip that out of the policy just because our prices are increasing or our costs are increasing for the market. Additional items that need to get addressed. We saw increases in our special event insurance this year, significant increases. It's something that our Joint Powers Authority, CIRA, is insisting that we have, and it's important to have, but the cost has doubled year over year. And then again, additional policies that are impacting the market this year is this is new and will be enforced by the Sonoma Valley Fire District and County in 2023 that for every 250 individuals at an event, once it hits 1,000 people, you have to have trained crowd monitors. And so working with all of our service providers, we will be needing to go and ensure that they get trained so that if there was an emergency that we could actually activate as a team on site and help assist with the emergency on site. So this is something in the past I didn't have to have, no one had to go through formal training. We always had kind of a document that we reviewed, but this is an actual formal training and you have to have a certificate of completion. So we'll be working to ensure that we can meet that new condition. I'd like to just quickly highlight the budget. And I know this is really long and I apologize, but the 2023 draft market budget is attached. It's Exhibit B. Staff is recommending increasing the vendor stall fees, with some of the fees increasing by up to 15%. A complete list of the fees is attached as the vendor stall fees Exhibit C. This increase, just so that you understand what it is, it's the equivalent to $5 to $15 per stall, depending on the type of vendor. So it sounds big, but monetarily it's not huge. This is in line with, or it is in line with other events in and around our community here in Northern California. Our farmers market is unique because it really is a community event. It's not just a farmers market, so we kind of have to look at it from a lens of it's part of a more of a community event because it has all the food vendors and the farmers and the music and all of those items. Sorry. I'll try to make it brief. Another item that needed to be taken into consideration when I was working on the budget this past year is we saw some really extreme weather, similar to what we're seeing right now. The extreme weather, we had rain early on in the season, and we had extreme heat later in the season that really inhibited our ability. We saw a huge reduction in amount of vendors participating in the market as well as attendees. I think one night we had, was it four vendors on a Tuesday night, which is just unheard of. And so one of the things that city staff is requesting as well is the ability to work with our new interim city manager and recreate or create policy as part of the rules and regulations of the market for the vendors. We work with the legal team. They help us craft these, but looking for some clear policy that will allow us to activate earlier so we can message out to vendors using the weather forecasted so that we can not have a market that night. So based on weather conditions. And so that will also help. Our policy isn't as clear as it really should have been. And so obviously always want to take health and safety and welfare of our patrons and our vendors into consideration in doing that. I think it's also important, because this is a new council and I don't know how familiar you are with this, but the budget for the farmers market as outlined actually spans 2 fiscal periods. So part of it's going to hit fiscal year 22-23, and then the next part will hit fiscal year 23-24. We are running at a deficit once we close the 2022 market. I'm hoping to recoup some of that revenue moving into the 2023 market season, because we have May through June revenues to receive, and we will, if there is a deficit or if there needs to be a budget adjustment, we'll bring that forth to you during the budget season, and we can address it then as well. But our goal is to really get this back to net neutral. I think it's also important for us to just highlight that we are creating one more category of our classification of vendor this year. It's the food truck vendor. We only have 2 to 3 of them participating in the market, and that'll probably stay pretty consistent in 2023. But we're looking to, food trucks are typically longer, and then they actually go out wider. So they take more space, and so the fees that you're seeing are really appropriate to the size of space and the use of the space that they're actually taking. In the past, we've been charging them just a linear 10 by 10 stall fee, and they're now coming out an extra 5 feet. So you'll see in the staff report the proposed stall fees. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer them. We are also requesting the ability to have allow the city manager to direct staff to create pricing strategies for our other items like our sponsorships. So we have a pretty, we're getting more robust every year. We're building on it. This year, I think one of our biggest achievements was really getting an EBT sponsor, which allowed us to match 100% of all EBT. So individuals that have EBT and come to the market, we were able to, if they use $20 of EBT, we're able to match it by $20 because we had a sponsor, and that goes a long ways. It helps our farmers, and it helps get healthy food into the hands of people that need it. So we'll continue to focus on that, and are requesting the ability to work with the city manager on those pricing strategies, which is a normal, that's been how we've handled it in the past. So green policies, again, we have an abundance of green policies. This is also another one of those items. I work really closely with our sustainability coordinator, and we're trying to address, the market does generate a lot of trash. We spend a lot of money in sorting our trash, and I think working with Travis Wagner, he's put some proposals together to have manned recycling areas on site, and to really use that as an opportunity to educate our community. So we'd like to do that, but there is an additional cost for those services. We would like to try to reach out to the high school and see if there's an organization within the high school that could help us, but those plans are still in progress. I think at this point, let's see. I think I'm ready to kind of wrap it up. Sorry. So, you know, overall, the Sonoma Tuesday Night Market continues to be a cherished weekly event. It brings the community together to celebrate and engage with each other. During our fiscal 23-24 budget process next spring, staff may bring that budget adjustment to City Council for fiscal year 22-23 to account for the 22 market season loss and the increased expenses and lost revenue. Staff will continue to try to negotiate all of our contracts. Part of my plan moving forward is to make sure we do have weather clauses in our contracts, because we write a check to a vendor and then it's hard to get that back. So we're going to look at, making sure that there's more processes in place so that we can recoup our expenses if we do have to cancel due to weather. And city staff is recommending that City Council adopt the resolution that's in the packet approving the proposed changes to the conditions for operation of the Tuesday night market. The draft 2023 budget with more information to come as it becomes clearer during the budget season for 23-24. And approve the proposed stall fees for the market. And just realize that that is a not to exceed. So if we get to the point when we're really looking at the budget and we have the ability to bring the stall fees down, we would do that. But this kind of wraps up my report at this point, and I look forward to answering any questions you may have. And I apologize again for the length of it.
Not at all. We all love the Tuesday night market, and it takes a lot of explaining. It takes a lot to have that happen. So at this point, I'd like to turn it over to the council for any questions of Lisa before we get into comments and so forth. Question, Vice Mayor, please.
Thank you for that report, Lisa. I feel for you. So I'm going to ask a relatively naive question. Could you explain to me how we got into the farmers market business?
I can. So back in, I think it was 2019, late 2019, we received a phone call from the previous market owner or operators of the market, Valley of the Moon Certified Market Organization, I think is what it was, CF. Anyways, their market manager was resigning, and they didn't have the ability to fill the role of the person that was resigning. And honestly, I think they just felt it was time to turn it over. The city sent it out for an RFP at that time. We came back with a couple proposals, but what we kept finding with the proposals was there's this little bit of a wrangling that people didn't understand our community and what this means to our community. It was really like, well, this is what I do in Santa Rosa, or this is what I do in Cotati or Roanoke Park or in Marin. And we received quite a few proposals. And at that time, I think this city manager, Kathy Capriola, was like, okay, let's take a really hard look at this. We brought it to city council with a recommendation that we bring it in-house and see if we can't partner with our Chamber of Commerce. I do a lot of marketing with the Visitors Bureau as well, and kind of find our own market manager to help us from the staffing perspective so that I still have time to do my day job.
Okay, thank you. So just a couple of questions on the budget itself. Under expenses, you've got contractor fees, operations of the market, and I'm assuming that's Jerry's role, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. What I don't think I see here, and correct me if I'm wrong, is your time, the time of maintenance for whatever preparation they need to do.
Mm-hmm.
So the city staff time that's involved in putting on this particular event. Is it possible to get those costs outlined and so we can get a real picture of what this is costing us to put on?
Yes, I think we can. I think the big question, or I think some of the things that we've done is we really have scaled back the need for Public Works' involvement because now we do have a trash and a sorting company, and they do all the litter pickup, and we clean the bathrooms, and we restock the bathrooms. And so from a Public Works perspective, it's not a huge amount of work. We do have to put out the signage for the bus, relocating the bus drop-off and checking electrical, and there's those requirements still, but I think I can get that to you.
Okay. I would hope that everybody would like to see that.
Yeah, can I get that to you? Do you want it as part of this item, a continuation, or would you like it during the budget season?
Well, I'd like to know what it's costing us to put on the farmer's market.
Okay.
So, and you can send that through the city manager if you wish, and I can meet with him and review that. That's fine.
Thank you. Great question. Any other questions of Lisa before we have comments and public comment? Yes, Mr. Ding.
I have a question regarding several years ago I heard about the local and the store owner or restaurant owner, and they really don't like the Tuesday farmers market because it will negatively affect their regular business for the Tuesday. Did you hear the more complaints or any suggestions from our local business?
So I haven't received recent complaints. I think when this item came forward back in 2019 and even prior to when the other market operators were planning and coordinating the market, there was definitely some concerns, and I think that's what led to our conditions for operations of the market. You'll see that a lot of those are really their policy goals of things that we try to do, making sure that we're not, it's not just a food truck market, that there's an opportunity for our restaurants to get involved if they want to. I know the Chamber of Commerce has reached out. We've tried implementing, we had a board at one point that had specials that individuals could go to a restaurant and pick up on site. I think that kind of fell to the wayside. There wasn't a lot of businesses that were taking advantage of that. So I think it just kind of drifted away. But I am always worried when I take parking and increase traffic around the plaza for any of our events, because I do feel for our brick and mortar businesses that that's their place of business. So it's definitely a balance.
Thank you. Among our vendors, do you have any, the roughly in the percentage? What is it in the city and the valley and out of the count, or out of county and out of the, if any numbers?
I'm looking at Jerry, but I think it's safe to say that most of our artisans, our prepared food, those two are probably our highest categories of local to Sonoma or Sonoma Valley. When we start looking at our farmers, there's only a few farmers that actually participate from Sonoma Valley in our market. We get a lot of people from outside the county. And when I say a lot, I mean, I think we have 7 to 9 farmers at any given point, so it's not a huge number. But we do give local preference as far as our pricing policies for vendors, so that we are trying to encourage our local vendors to participate in the market. And there's definitely, when we go through the judging criteria, when we get all the applications in, there's a whole panel that sits down and they're judged, and the criteria is very clear that if they're local to Sonoma, they get a preference as long as, you know, they've been a good partner in the past and we haven't had any issues. There's there's good and the bad on the judging criteria. Jerry puts that together. I review it, and then we present it to the panel, and then the panel makes the decision on who the final vendors are. So I don't know if that answered your question completely.
Yeah.
I don't have exact numbers.
Yeah,
but
I got an idea. Thank you.
okay.
Any further questions before we see if there are any comments? Oh,
Yes.
okay,
Yes.
Mr. Willander, please.
Starting with the dogs, has it been the negative feedback because the dogs are loose or that they're also on leash?
Really, I think the complaints that I continue to hear, and I think Jerry could probably attest to this, is we have signs all over the plaza that say no dogs, and we have dogs all over the plaza. And so the expectation of the people that are following the rules is that there shouldn't be dogs on the plaza. On a rare occasion, we've had dogs off leash. We've had dogs in the duck pond before. We've had dogs that were sitting next to their owner with the leash on, but the owner wasn't touching them, and then the dog busts over and pulls food out of a child's hand. So there are some issues that have to get addressed. For me, it's setting the expectation. Like, what is the expectation for the market?
Thank you. I believe memory serves me that the state parks has always had a presence there. Will they continue?
That's the goal.
Okay.
We try to work with our state parks, and we try to work with our Sonoma Community Center to make sure that we have some interactive kid opportunities. And so we will continue with that.
And I'm speculating that on the special event insurance, it's not like auto insurance, that if we don't have claims, they still feel compelled to raise the rates?
I can't speak to it. It's gone up. It's gone up
again,
significantly.
Okay. I also would love to see the additional costs that are associated with staff. And probably the last one, I know as of recent, in the last few months, this community of Sonoma has been given the charge of trying to train their residents to be better stewards of composting, which, being a landscape architect, I deal with compost all the time, so I support it. I'm a little bit unclear as to why we're buying $7,000 worth of reusable cups when, in my mind, in terms of being a good steward, and we're in this essence of wanting to push composting, why we can't put the burden on the actual food vendors to provide the utensils or the cups or whatever that fall under the definition of compostable.
So we do that, Ron, with all of the food vendors.
And then what's the justification for?
The cups are our partner, the Chamber of Commerce. They sell the wine. And so it's just that particular vendor that we're looking at. It's been in a biodegradable, compostable plastic cup, which kind of loosely meets the term, but really never goes away. And so looking at really encouraging people to bring their cups from home, or having something that maybe a little pain in the pocketbook. They have to buy a cup, and then maybe next time they'll remember to bring their cup back.
So we're buying them ahead of time.
We're buying them ahead of time. We'd stock it. I'd be working with the Visitors Bureau. Our thought moving forward would be to be working with the Visitors Bureau because they do the lighting of event, and they use those, kind of metal, they're not tumblers, but the metal wine cups that are insulated. I've used them before for the city party as well. And so typically we recoup our cost on the cups.
Okay.
It doesn't cost, it costs for the initial purchase,
Sure,
but then I get
sure.
the money comes back.
Thank you for the clarification. Are there excess food vendors, farm vendors that want to participate and we limited them to 5 to 7? Or are we struggling to find?
Struggling to find.
And do you have any idea why that might be?
I personally feel that our market has the community event feel to it, and I think people come to the community event to enjoy the music and walk around, and they like the lively atmosphere, and maybe it's not the market that they're buying their produce. I think our 7 to 9 vendors that we do have a fairly decent business at our market, but I don't know if it would be sustainable to continue to add to that. I don't believe we've ever said no to anyone, have we? No.
Okay, I just love the concept of keeping true to the term farmer's market.
Yes, definitely.
Could you just educate me a little bit more about this new requirement of crowd monitors? Because I'm speculating that that's going to cost us money. And I keep wondering, is there justification for it? Have we had events, or is this just another regulation that is being passed down that we have the burden?
It's been in existence. We've never had to have the trained personnel. So that means there needs to be a process in place, a real process. My thoughts initially were we always have an ambulance on site. Well, there's 2 right there.
Right.
We have Jerry, myself, typically on site. We usually have 2 security guards on site at any given time. And then we have our sound tech, we have other vendors on site. So if I can utilize the people that are helping to produce the event, then I can, and if they're trained, they would qualify as my crowd monitors without incurring additional costs outside of the fact that they have to get paid to take the test.
Great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no worries.
Mention about the staff, I'm wondering. Sometimes I saw that a lot of the people, that ask you a lot of the questions, especially the dogs. And I would like to see, do you need more than the staff for enforcement? Otherwise, I saw you have very difficult time.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to enforce our way out of the dog policy. It's a challenge. I think it's a challenge. It's a challenge not just for the farmers market, but every event that occurs at the plaza. It's a challenge for picnickers on the weekend when there is an event because there's dogs around. We just have a community that really loves their dogs and wants their dogs everywhere they go. So Council Member Ding, I don't know what the cure of this is yet. I'm hoping, I've heard that our new interim city manager has some experience with farmers markets, so I'm hoping to really tap his experience and see if there's an ability, maybe there's a solution out there that I'm not aware of.
All right, let's keep our eyes open.
Yes.
See.
Thank you. Great.
Thank
And Ms. Ferrar-Rivas, any questions?
Actually, I'm good. Ron asked the question that I
Okay.
had, so
Oh,
that was good. And I would
beautiful.
just say, I have cats and a cat lover, but I do like dogs too. And what I wanted to say is for those of us that campaigned at the farmer's market and went around and talked to people, it was unfortunately a subject that often came up. And I was always quite reticent because I have, dogs in my family. But, which way should you talk about this? But there's not a real good solution. Nobody was happy with any of the solutions that you would offer except enforcement, which doesn't seem to work.
Okay. Any further questions? Okay. Hearing any public comment on this item before we bring it back to the council? Any public comment? Any public comment on Zoom?
No, Madam Mayor.
Okay, no public comment. Okay, so Any comments now regarding this item before we ask for a motion? Any comments? I think I'm going to comment if you don't mind it, because I was, I'm not good at holding my thoughts back in terms of my body language, so no one walks away going, I wonder what you thought about that. So the dog thing, we did have an item on the agenda, I can't remember when, regarding changing that policy. And it was rejected by the council, and that we are sticking to our policy of no dogs on the plaza. And, I recognize that this is difficult for people. I, too, am a former dog owner. Everyone in my family has dogs. But, I just tell them, don't bring them to the plaza. That's all there is to it. I mean, it's not about your dog. It's about everybody else's experience. And, service dogs is an absolute exception. We have to make that exception, and it's right to make that exception. But, we just have to be firm and put that out there. And I look forward to the interim city manager sharing his wisdom on this. And we'll go from there. Any further comments regarding this item that you'd like to share before we tender? Yes, please.
Well, I've actually given some thought to the whole dog issue, and I think there is a potential solution, and it's going to involve enforcement. But each city employee, I believe they take the same oath of office that we did. And I believe that obviously you want voluntary compliance, but if we have enough staff in the plaza to confront the dog owners and advise them nicely that they can't have the dogs, and then if we get pushback, well, that's when the city employee then needs to call for law enforcement assistance and enforce it. And then they can come out. I believe that our city employee can actually sign the citation that the deputy would provide, and we can just make this right. We've got it posted. I certainly try to obey the signs that I see, and I think we can actually solve this. It's going to take some work, but. And I'm sure a lot of heat to go with it, but that's okay. I'm up to the challenge.
Yeah, it's absolutely. I'll just tell him, as I said earlier, it was his idea, so it works for me. No, but you're right. You're right. I mean, it's a safety issue. You have a lot of people on the plaza. All you need is for someone to trip over a leash, and a lot of damage can be done. So it's not a matter of not loving dogs. It's a matter of making sure people are safe, and safety is an important thing. Any other comments or suggestions? Or I have oh yes, please.
Yeah, this is in my craw and has been for a number of years. If we have rules, they need to be enforced. The problem as I see it right now, and I appreciate the vice mayor coming up with a more creative possible solution, is that I think it's too much burden to place on you and Jerry right now to just do it. So I'm of the opinion that we either need to change how we enforce the law, or we need to change the law in the sense that I'm not closed-minded to dogs in the plaza. I am open-minded to dogs on leash and have that enforced. But I'm also flexible on it. But again, I think that it is impractical to think that the burden of enforcement should fall upon you and Jerry, and that in reality, we all can play a part. But again, if we have rules, let's enforce them. If not, let's get rid of them. Because this selective picking what we enforce and what we don't, whether it's hedges or not, drives me crazy. So,
understandable. Yes. Any other comments or suggestions? I have another comment if no one else has a. Councilmember Ding, you have your light on. Do you have a comment to make?
Right now, I'm okay. Yeah,
okay, thank you. The schedule regarding the 20 days. So should we adopt this resolution, that's with the flexibility of it's, we can add to the commemorations or all of that, correct?
So really, the resolution, there's some leeway for the city manager to make decisions regarding the market. Part of those is updating the rules and regulations that the vendors abide by. So typically what happens is I come to city council for the setting of the vendor fees, not to exceed, the budget aspect of it, and then the conditions of operations has kind of been what I've been doing. If it needs to change, I'm more than willing to do that as well. Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say that when we do have a special like Hawaiian night or something like that, it would just be nice to get an update on that so that we can, let people know, or perhaps maybe even members of the council, if you have suggestions for one of these nights, to contact Ms. Jansen and see if, perhaps, we can come up with some creative suggestions that would be helpful. So thank you. Okay, I don't have any other further comments. Yes, Mr. Willender.
Real quick, I want to express publicly kudos to the Sonoma Valley Fire District for continuing to serve us and not charging us. That is speaks well of them, and I want to recognize that.
Yeah, sorry I didn't.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. All right, so no more further comments. I will entertain a motion on this item.
Well, I'm wondering if we want to take a motion before we get the information about the staff time. Just want to refer back to John's question about that. Or do you want to just see it, or would you like that to see that before we're making a decision?
Is there a time crunch to get this signed off to make your life easier?
So ideally, I really wanted to try to get the vendor applications out next week, and then give them until the end of January to apply, and then that would buy us time on the front end of the market to actually get set and ready to move forward. Last year, we pushed it off a little later, and we were behind the gun. I shouldn't use that term, but we were behind the entire pre-planning of the market. So trying to get a little bit of jump start. My understanding is our next meeting, I know you were going to work on the schedule tonight, but I think it was in the end of January. So that would set me back, or set Jerry and I back significantly. So
Thank you for that. Okay. Hearing that, do we have a motion on this item? To adopt the resolution approving the conditions of the Tuesday Farmers Market. Any motion?
Yeah, you can take a motion.
I can, thank you so much. Okay, thank you. I will make a motion to adopt a resolution approving the conditions for operations of Sonoma's Tuesday Night Market, 2023 market season, and vendor stall fee pricing. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Council Member Ding. Any discussion on the motion?
I'd like to just throw out the idea with the understanding that we will get the economic information at some point, that we'll be able to at least have a comment.
I think we'll take that as a friendly amendment to the resolution. As the maker of the motion, I take it as a friendly amendment. Okay, any other comments regarding the motion? If not, can I have the clerk call the roll, please?
Councilmember Ferrer Rivas.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gurney.
Aye.
Councilmember Wellender.
Yes.
Councilmember Dean.
Aye.
Mayor Lowe.
Aye.
Thank you, the mayor. Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, thank you so much, and thank you, Lisa and Jerry, for everything you do. It's, obviously one of the most popular things going on in Sonoma, so our scrutiny on it will only make it more popular, more wonderful, and we appreciate everything that you do for all of the people who come and enjoy it.
And just to reiterate, if you have ideas that you would like to see, please reach out. I have an open policy, and I really do try to please, so open to comments and suggestions.
And I appreciate it. The report was very thorough.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was indeed. Great. Okay, so moving on to item 6.3 is a discussion, consideration, and possible action to approve dates for virtual Day 1, and in-person Day 2, city manager candidate interviews, authorizing the interim city manager to approve the recruitment brochure as presented, to include any minor council member revisions, and establishing the technical interview panel as recommended by the city council for the in-person Day 2, candidate interviews, for the purpose of providing feedback to the city council prior to the position appointment. And at this point, I'd like to turn it over to the acting city manager, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This item, well, let's see, the council back in their August 3rd meeting authorized the interim city manager to enter into a contract with Wendy Brown Creative Partners for the city manager recruitment process for the city of Sonoma. A number of deadlines were previously established in working with Wendy Brown Creative Partners with the previous council in terms of timelines to try to move this process along as quickly as possible while still entertaining comments and input from the newly seated council. So tonight, there's a few things that we're wanting to try to get accomplished to continue to meet that deadline. One is to establish the interview dates. There's actually 2 dates that need to be established, one for a virtual interview date with the city council only, and the second date is an in-person interview date that needs to be established. And one correction with respect to this item, the second day interview dates that are now being offered are February 23rd, 24th, or 25th, as well as March 2nd and March 3rd. So that is a correction to your staff report. 2 additional dates that could be considered for the Day 2 interview panel. The second thing that we were needing to have done is for the city council to review the recruitment brochure. And tonight you've been handed a red line strikeout version of that recruitment brochure for you to approve. My understanding is that all council members have had an opportunity to review the brochure language, and the most recent changes are a result of the newly seated council members. And then finally, we would like the city council to approve the recommended technical panel that was previously recommended by the council. We've outlined that panel, and again, would like any kinds of input or changes if you so desire, but however, these are the folks that you had previously recommended. And that is the actions that we are looking for tonight, and we can take one at a time if you'd like.
Yes, I'd like to take one at a time. I think it'd be easier if you don't mind.
Sure.
Thank you.
So the first item really is to confirm the candidate interview dates for both the virtual interview date and the in-person interview date. And so why don't we start with that?
Okay, very good. Everybody take out your calendars, and I want to preface this by saying calendar's the hardest thing we do. Once we figure that out, the rest of it is easy, all right? So it is always hard. We're very busy people. This is not our full-time job, and I know there's people that have holidays planned and so forth. So let's look at first the virtual Day
February
1.
24th.
The February virtual date, 8, 9, 10, or 11. Is there a preference or any questions or comments, Mr. Gurney?
All right. Long ago, I engaged with a travel agency to travel to Antarctica. And I leave on February the 8th and return on February the 27th. And I realized that I'm just one council member, but I truly would like to participate in these things. So obviously, these dates are in conflict. And my thought process was one of, we have Wayne, acting city manager, we have an interim city manager coming in. There was a lot of pressure and time concern about how fast we move through this process. And it seems to me we now have an opportunity to slow the process down and be a little more thoughtful through it. All right, and plus I'm not going to be here. But, so I would just like to propose that we try to push this out a little bit so the full council can participate. And what those dates would look like, I don't know. I actually had mentioned this to the recruiter, and I thought she was going to provide some additional options, but maybe that didn't happen.
What
Well-
day do you return, John?
27.
27th, I heard.
Yes, the options that were offered up were the March 2nd or March 3rd date.
But that was just for the second interview.
It is for the
correct?
second interview, but the council participates in that interview as well.
Right, but the virtual day one, do we have options on that? So I think what I'm hearing from the vice mayor is that we begin the process, including the virtual day one interview date after his return. And the question that I have is the interim city manager coming in. I know that he has a fixed timeline in terms of his ability to stay here. So we could be flexible, and I'm all for that, by the way. But we do have a date upon which the interim city manager has to depart because of rules with his retirement, et cetera. So if I could direct my question perhaps to the city attorney, who might help me with the dates, or Mr. Wyrick, if you know that date, just for the awareness of the council, please.
Well, to answer the question, I don't think there's a specific date. He is limited to the number of hours that he can work, to 750 hours. 737 hours. So, as I say, I don't think there's a specific date with respect to that, but the number of hours he's able to put in are just that. One question, and that the city attorney mentioned, is whether or not, because the first interview is virtual, is there any possibility that Mr. Gurney would be able to participate virtually? Remotely, even though you are.
That's so
are
remote.
In a place
He's
where
going to the
no one
South
goes.
I don't know. But I realize that technologically is a possibility. But the other aspect I was looking at here is that the window of recruitment, opening on the 22nd of December and then closing on the 19th of January, and if that were to remain open longer, it's possible you may obtain additional candidates of value. But again, if it's undoable, that's appreciated.
No, I think that, I think we can, let's try to work it through. I think your question, extending the date could work. Any other questions regarding the dates before we ask for public comment on this piece, and then go back and see if we can noodle through getting the date set? Any other comments? Questions?
This question was asked of Sam, and I'm not sure if I can recall her answer, but it seems odd to send out a recruitment package on the 22nd of December. And I just am curious why, and I understand that we had to bracket it with a legitimate time period, but I just think that's a weird time for distributing.
Don't disagree. I think that the comments made were that the previous council was trying, there was a lot of hurry up and do this, and so everybody was trying to do that. But now we have a different situation, and we can do something different. So before we come up with a date. Are there any public comments on this before I bring it back to the council for final discussion?
I'm sorry, you promised, sir, that you weren't going to come up again. I'm just kidding.
I won't rule you out of order this time,
I'm
Mr.
breaking my
Wagner.
word. I said I would
You're on-
only comment once this evening. Robert Demler, Sonoma. To go from December 22nd to January 19 is an awfully short time to have a recruiting period for someone who's going to be so important in our lives. And I include myself and the public as well. I think that's too short. I mean, what's the hurry? We're going to live with this person, I hope, a long time in comparison to the past. So I think that should be extended. And Vice Mayor, I think you should go on your vacation, and we should extend the period of recruitment. Thank you very much for listening to my opinion.
Thank you so much. Are there any further comments or comments on Zoom? No. So let's bring this back to the council. And so we've got a couple of things here. One, should we extend the date? It's fine to put it out there on the 22nd, but I mean, the reality is, if somebody sent something to me on the 22nd, I'd be just as, ignoring it as well. There's a lot going on this month. And extending that through the month of at least January, and then bringing the option for a virtual and an in-person meeting after the 27th of February is what I'm hearing. So extending the application period, if you will, to to the end of January, or even the middle of February, and then doing the interviews upon dates at which the entire council could be present. That's what I'm hearing. Does that summarize it, or is there any other comments that might help put that together?
Yeah, I'm trying to look at how far those 737 hours are going to get us.
That was my concern.
Which is about, and it depends. If someone worked a 40-hour week, it would be, about 4.5 months, but this isn't a 40-hour-a-week job. And how much crossover do you want between the interim and the new manager coming in? So that puts us out, I think we safely have 3 months. It seems like to me. I don't know I'm not sure what would be an appropriate amount of time. You would probably be able to answer that best as far as a month for being able to support someone transitioning.
Yes, I think that's a reasonable amount of time. Keep in mind, though, that the reason that you're setting these dates now is so the dates can be included in the brochure. So in order to do that, your next council meeting is on the 23rd of January. If we don't set the dates until then, we don't start
No, I'm
recruiting.
thinking we're setting them tonight.
Yeah.
But we're moving them.
Extending.
Yeah.
And I would support that for sure. I think that perhaps if we could set the first interview date in the first couple of days of March, the March 2nd or March 3rd, and then move the second in-person interview to a later date in March, maybe a week or two following, that would, we wouldn't lose so much time, and we'd still be able to offer up the recruitment and send it out on the 22nd, which it doesn't, whether it's after Christmas or not, it doesn't really matter. But then the recruitment closing could be extended, just like what you're discussing, and we could go back to the consultant to help us establish those dates. And it sounds like we have recognition that it's important to give a little bit more time in the recruitment time period. And I think those are achievable if we can, again, set those dates tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we have one date floating out there, and that's March the 2nd for the first virtual interview date.
The second or the third?
The second or the third. Are there any preferences? Yeah, pull out your calendars.
Thursday and Friday.
Yes, the March 2nd and 3rd are a Thursday and a Friday.
I prefer on the Friday.
Prefer the 3rd. I hear the 3rd as a preference. No problem with that? Okay. So I'll entertain a motion to have the first virtual interview date on March 3rd.
I turned it off. I move to have the first interview date, which would be virtual, on Friday, March 3rd.
Is there a
Do
second?
I need to say any more than that?
No.
That's enough, thank you.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Vice Mayor Gurney. Any discussion? Please call the roll on this motion, please.
Councilmember Farrar Rivas.
Aye.
Thank you. That's a little bit of a tongue twister. Vice Mayor Gurney.
Yes.
Councilmember Wellender.
Yes.
Councilmember Ding.
Aye.
Mayor Lowe.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries
Okay,
unanimously.
we're getting through this. The next thing to come up is the second interview date. And it looks like, based on the previous arrangement, that would be 2 weeks later. Can it be 1 week later? Does it need to be 2 weeks later?
I don't know the reasoning why the delay between the first week and the second week. I can't think of any reason why you couldn't hold it the following week.
Okay.
What's our city council meeting?
It would be the first and the 15th, probably. Right, so if we could, look at perhaps the 10th for an in-person, does that work?
I want to know if it's possible if we do a range of dates, because I'm assuming we may have to coordinate with our folks that are consulting with us. So that could we say the week of, and have that, as a, we can say the dates, we can do it. If we're all clear, several days in that week, and then we can give them more than just one day.
I think that would be very helpful if the council's open to that.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is maybe between the 10th and the 17th, that would give a week.
We have a holiday on the 13th, apparently.
We have a holiday on the 13th of March.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wrong.
And the 17th Friday is.
I'm wrong, sorry.
Oh, yeah, let's do it on the 17th.
Yes.
What's the
It's
17th?
fine, yeah, 17th.
St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day.
Okay,
It's fine. We could just have beers afterwards.
it's all good. I'm all about St. Patrick's Day. So the range between the 10th and the 17th for the second meeting, to be determined. So can we entertain a motion that the second meeting will be between March 10th and March 17th of the, yes.
So moved.
So moved. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Farrar Rivas. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Farrar Rivas. Vice Mayor Gurney.
Yes.
Councilmember Wellender.
Yes.
Councilmember Dean.
Aye.
Mayor Lowe.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries unanimously.
I don't know if we need a motion to extend the application period. It seems to be obvious from the movement of the interview dates, and the consultant should be able to do that, but do you need that for the purpose of the brochure?
Yes, we do. However, again, if the council desires to provide a little bit of flexibility on the part of the consultant, we can do a couple of things. Number one, analyze and speak to the interim city manager and just make sure timing-wise works for him. Plus, we can coordinate with the recruiter on the most appropriate closing date to include in the brochure. And if recognizing the fact that it's the city council's desire to extend it at least 2 weeks and possibly more.
Okay, so do you need that in the form of a motion? No.
I think I have adequate.
We have the direction. Okay, thank you. We have concluded item 1. Thank you very much. We'll want to see pictures of penguins when you return. I have a friend who just went there. I saw lots of pictures of penguins, so you'll enjoy that.
Nice.
Okay, so we're on the second part, which is to authorize the interim city manager to provide final approval of the recruitment brochure reviewed by city council and attached to this report, including minor council member revisions. So obviously, we've made some revisions. Is there any questions on this? This would, obviously, if we were doing a motion, it would be as amended by item 1.
I have reviewed the brochure, very comprehensive, covered everything, and also looks very nice, professional. I suggest to approve, but with the changes of the date.
So that was kind of like a motion to approve the brochure. Too early for comments. We're going to have comments. Thank you. Hold your motion. Thank you for that. Okay, let's go to Mr. Wellender, please, for your comments regarding the brochure.
First and foremost, and I'd like to have affirmation from our city attorney, but I would like there to be a requisite in here that says that the candidate or that the selected candidate is to live in Sonoma or within 10 miles of the city hall. And I believe we have statute behind that can require it. I've been told that the justification for is that in the case of an emergency, we expect and want prompt presence. So I think that's critical because we've seen of late a number of key people that do not live in the community. And I think it has, the word crippled is inappropriate, but it has not been in the best interest of the city. And given the significance of this person's role in the city, I strongly encourage that to be added. In addition, there has been there's been some comments added that I support, but the one area that I am troubled with is when you look at and I know that we have to be competitive, but I have trouble when I look at the package. And I'm not taking it into any comment or criticism for the annual salary. But what I struggle with is when you add up the vacation, the sick leave, administrative leave, paid holidays, plus the fact that the city does not work between the Christmas and New Year's, and so that really is a non-paid, but in reality is that their salary is amortized over 51 weeks. That takes us down to 199 working days in a calendar year if you go with 52 weeks, 5 days a week, 260 days potential, and now we're down to 199. I would like to propose that one that I find a little bit unsettling is the administrative leave. I would like to suggest that that may be legit, but I think that should be an earned element that shows that he or she is worthy of administrative leave. But that's 4 weeks of leave in a calendar year. And I'd like to think that our need is for a professional with presence, not absence with the city. So I do not, at this point, I'm open to hearing justification, but at this point, I've racked my brain, and I can't figure out the justification behind that, other than the typical cop-out, and that says you have to be competitive. I like to think that there's enough attraction to Sonoma that people will want to apply to Sonoma.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions regarding the brochure or comments about that?
I would just say, I appreciate what you're saying, Ron, but if you take away the 4 weeks, then you have to look at the 2 weeks of vacation a year, and you're not going to attract an executive to a position like this with 2 weeks of vacation.
What is that going to like a city managers conference, or what is administrative leave?
Perhaps we can ask
Yes,
staff.
administrative leave is time off offered to management employees for extra work that they don't do during the course of their employment. So it's when you're doing city manager work, you're not working a 40-hour work week. You're working much more, and so the administrative leave provides it's additional time off to compensate for the extra time that you're working beyond a 40-hour work week. So
with that explanation, I support it. But up until this point, there was no explanation behind it, and I did not understand what administrative leave. Compensatory time off is a very common expression with different levels of employment, which I do understand. So thank you for that clarity.
Okay, thank you.
My additional comment is, based on this recruiting company, they are very experienced in this area. They just using this kind of common practice. Another thing is, out in the staff, especially for the city manager, they are working as not just from the 9 to 5. They work very late. My experience during the past 2 years, even within the, midnight, I still receive the email correspondence. So I believe we need to respect those professional recruiting companies' suggestion, but for sure, double check that everything is clear.
Yes. Please, Mr. Wyrick.
thanks, Madam Mayor. And in response to the 10-mile question that Councilmember Wellender had, I think the city attorney has some clarification on that.
Yes, I was going to ask for that. Thank you.
We recently amended this section of the municipal code last year, I believe it was. So the provision is in section 208020, if you guys ever want to peruse that at your leisure. 08020. And it provides that the council shall not impose a residency requirement for the appointment of the city manager. However, within 180 days of appointment, that person should live within 10 road miles, so 10 driving miles from City Hall.
Should that not be in the brochure as an interested candidate? I think if that's a requisite.
You want to, can you turn on your microphone?
It can also be waived by the city council, and it was waived for Mr. Toy.
But is that not an appropriate piece of information that should be in a brochure? Because I would certainly think that if that's an expectation, not for that you would want to be transparent about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's up to the council. I mean, my take on it is residency requirements are part of the ordinances that councils adopt. It's not unusual. We have them, other cities have them. My guess is an experienced city manager would absolutely look at that and would, aside from the salary, would look at that, but also look that it could be waived. And that may be the deal breaker. We find somebody who happens to live in Kenwood, which is perhaps more than 10 road miles, and like that person very much, and make the decision to opt out of that requirement. So for me, I believe it's on them to do the research on that. I think there's other things that they will do the research on. The only thing I worry about is that in some way we're going to produce a chilling effect on our applicants because of the house prices and the lack of housing within 10 miles of the city, that they might just decide not to apply because it is so difficult. And we've run into this with many of the people. You know, we all want to live here. I mean, and we'll make every effort to help that person live here. But if we put that in there, I have a feeling that we're not going to get applicants. And I think that they will look at that and decide, to take their chances with us and say, I'll move, but I might not get within 10 miles. Would you be willing to waive it? And then that's an option we have. But anyway, it's up to the council. That's my perspective on it. Please.
I would just like to suggest that we ask the acting city manager to make a note of that comment and take it back to the recruiter and share the concern that we want folks to be aware of that. We don't want to create a chilling effect, but again, the recruiter will interview these people preliminarily, and that's the kind of thing that would come up in that kind of a discussion. And then I think we can move ahead with the approval of the brochure.
Right. So any further comments on that? I think your point is well taken, that we'll refer it back. And any public comments regarding this or comments on Zoom? Seeing none. Any comments on Zoom? Okay, so do you have direction on this?
I have adequate direction.
Thank you so much. So the final thing is on the technical panel. Please take a look at this and see if there's anyone missing. I'd hate to take anybody off the list, but is there anyone missing or any comments regarding that, regarding the technical panel? Good. I would like to just make a note. I know that there is a acting superintendent of schools. I would like someone from the school district, either the president of the board or the acting superintendent, with the, if that is okay with the council. We do a lot of interaction with the schools. I think it's important to have someone there. Yes, Mr. Green.
In addition to that, because that triggered a thought in my mind, is what about the CEO of the hospital?
Fine.
I think
yeah.
you would be an excellent
I agree.
representative as well.
So if we can add someone from the hospital, the CEO, and someone from the school district, I think that that will cover our bases there.
And it would be nice to look at diversity issues as we're looking at the people that would be on that.
Well, unfortunately, it's up to, we can't choose who the CEO of the hospital is or not, so.
When we're looking at, I gotta get this button thing going here correctly, but when we're looking at the board, someone from the school board.
Well, we can't choose. It would really be up to them, to represents them.
Yeah,
But,
all right.
yeah.
And I'd just like to clarify, the recruiter reached out to the folks that were on this list to make sure that they were, number one, willing, and number two, available on the dates that were previously indicated. There's a chance that now some of those people may not be able to attend, and I just want to make sure that that this will not be a condition of the technical panel. In other words, it shouldn't have to be completely filled in order to move forward with the recruitment.
Right.
If someone is not able to attend. So, for instance, when we do reach out to the superintendent of schools or the CEO of the hospital, if they're not able to do it, I'm hoping that the council sees fit that it would not be a condition of postponing the second interview, that we will do our best to include those folks and all of the ones listed, but as I say, I have no idea whether or not they're
And we've
available
changed the
at this point.
dates, so,
Yes.
yeah. So, absolutely. And in fact, that's a good reason to expand the list in the event that somebody can't be there. So with the addition of school district acting superintendent or president of their board and the CEO of the hospital, are there any other further suggestions, or are we good on that? So we can move forward off this item. Any comments from the public on this? I don't think we need a motion, but yes. Sir.
Robert Demler, I don't know who's on that list. I did not read the packet. I apologize. Are there any representatives from any of the nonprofits in Sonoma? Yes, there.
No, there are not.
Well,
Oh, there is. Okay. I didn't see it.
Yeah, chamber.
Sorry?
the chamber.
Chamber's not a nonprofit, in my opinion. It is?
Yeah.
But I would think, more than the school board or the hospital, you would have someone like from Impact 100 or Sonoma Valley Historical Society or Sonoma League for Historical Preservation or SOS or whatever. Some general folks.
Yeah. Thank you for your suggestions. Please.
Good evening. Robert Frank, Larkin Drive. I was just curious about the 10-mile radius requirement. When was that adopted? Would anybody know when that 10-mile radius was adopted? Was it 5 years ago, 50 years ago?
I think we'll take that back to the council and we'll answer your question at that point, sir.
Oh, okay.
I think we just brought it up, actually.
Okay.
Okay.
The reason I'm saying is staffing is so difficult
It
in
is.
all industries everywhere. I happen to be something of a student of scale and proportion. So if a 10-mile radius equates to, say, 15 to 20 minutes of driving, somebody could consume that 15 or 20 just by walking to work if they live and decide to walk from a 2-mile distance, or bicycling at a 5-mile distance. The point being is that if it was adopted many years ago, pre-computer, pre-cell phone, it could be that the 10-mile radius requirement is totally archaic. So anyway, we might want to relook at that scale and proportion of the 10-mile radius. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any questions or comments on Zoom before we bring it back to the council?
I have one other.
Yeah, just check with Zoom and then I'm with you. Thank you so much. Okay, Councilmember Farrar Rivas, you have a comment?
Well, I also share a lot of the concerns around the 10-mile issue, just because of looking at, if we really want to bring have a broad selection of people to choose from, I do think, considering the marketplace right now, it's very hard to find people. Very, very, very low unemployment. But so as long as it can be waived, and that can be taken into consideration, if it's a really great candidate, then I'm comfortable with it. The other thing I thought is, like, when I was thinking of this list and looking at it, it would be good to have someone from either the community center or someone from one of the organizations that represent kind of the issues that we're dealing with, whether it's housing or homelessness or climate. So.
Okay, do we have a suggestion to add I believe this list was primarily focused on municipal agencies and their expertise in city, in dealing with city government, but I'm certainly open. Do we have a suggestion with Councilmember Farrar Rivas's suggestion, or do you have a specific, which would you prefer, the community center? Mr. Gurney's worked there. Maybe he'd have a suggestion. Do you on that?
So Mark actually has chaired the nonprofit association for many years and is very familiar with all the organizations and is a nonprofit CEO himself. I think we've got nonprofits covered. I mean, we could actually invite a gazillion people, as Robert even mentioned, how big of a thing. Do you want to make this, like, I'm comfortable with this list personally, but I appreciate your concern for additional expertise.
Based on the day-to-day and work activities, we can look at which organization we work most frequently. For example, Sonoma Overnight Support, city manager and SOS, the executive director, they want to work a lot of time into the future. So I think that we can consider. Because I remember when we and the recruiting police chief, and also we include a different local nonprofit. We can look at every day's activities, contacts, and look at our agenda, which department we involved.
Well, we have Dave Kiff, who is at the county level involved in the homelessness situation. I believe that is covered. And I also, because we have two wonderful groups that are working on this issue, I would loathe to choose one and, inspire some animus from the other. So I feel like having Mr. Kiff there, or a representative of his choosing, if he can't make it, that could represent that perspective, I think would be a safer bet for us at this point. But I understand, I think we should, when we do our interviews, focus on that issue, because it certainly is one that we deal with. But that's just my comment. So anyone else have any comments or additions? From Mr. Gurney's perspective, he believes that the nonprofits are covered. I believe that the homelessness situation is covered by Mr. Kiff, but, we all have to agree. Let's try to make a consensus on this thing. Any other comments?
I'm very comfortable with who we've selected or added to.
Okay, and we've added school and hospital. And the hospital also deals with a lot of the issues regarding homelessness. Are you comfortable with that, Councilmember Davis?
I'm very much comfortable.
Okay.
Also, like the active and community person, Robert, representing our history. And I want to suggest we should try our best, find a good panel.
Yeah. So this is the panel we have that's listed. Mm-hmm. And with the addition of the school district representative and the hospital district representative, this is the list we have. And the issues that you've brought up regarding homelessness, there is someone there that is an expert in that. And the chamber is the nonprofit. So this would be the list. They have actually been contacted. We have to now tell them the new dates. So are we comfortable with this list? Because we need to move on, and so we can make these invitations. And please remember that this doesn't mean that other people in the community have not been interviewed about the kind of person that we want to be selected. So the group that is coordinating the search, we have added people for them to reach out to, because I've heard back from people saying, hey, thank you for putting me on the list, and how about so-and-so, and I'm like, great. So it's not like we haven't listened to them, but this is when we have to get down to the nitty-gritty and really choose that executive. But they have been invited, including, I believe, both HAS and SOS have been included in the candidate description. So they have had that outreach. So this is just the interview committee. So we need to see if we have agreement on this. Mr. Ding.
Yes, I agree with you. Yeah, we tried to cover it most part. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then.
Great.
Yeah.
Excellent. So do we need any further direction? Mr. Weiler.
No, so I'm hearing there's consensus on the council that we would add 2 additional interview technical members, the CEO of the Snow Valley Hospital and the superintendent or acting superintendent of the Snow Valley School District, and to the existing list that we already have, and that is sufficient direction for me.
Thank you very much, and thank you, council. This was a good, this is a really important thing. Having this discussion is important, and if there are people out there that you think our recruiter should interview, please send their names over, and they will interview with them and listen to their concerns. This is not an exhaustive thing, so that's very important, and that includes Mr. Demler and so forth. Okay. All right. So we're done with that item. If I can just figure out how to close my thing. There we go. And we're going to move on.
Did we need a motion for that?
I don't think so. I think we've given direction. Thank you. Thank you for asking. So,
And the only
yeah.
thing I'll say is just I'm always looking at last words, and I agree with this, and I'm going along with the rest of the council on that. But to really represent kind of equity and culture in the city, and I'm not sure I feel that here, but I will go along with this.
The problem we have, of course, is when you pick out the people from these particular agencies, they may or may not be, the complete package in terms of all of it, and it's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. All right. So moving on to 6.4, discussion, consideration, possible action to adopt a resolution approving the 2023 City Council meeting calendar, and the recommendation is to adopt, but let's take a look at it. I had brought a date up at the previous meeting before y'all were here, regarding April 4th being the first night of Passover. That was the one date that that sort of jumped out at me as being a conflict with our community. But are there any questions or any other concerns about dates?
Mayor Lowe, if I could do
Oh,
a brief
please, I'm so
presentation.
sorry. Because we had done this item before, I jumped the gun. My apologies. Please introduce the item. Thank you.
No worries whatsoever. We did go over the item at the last meeting. I believe everybody was present, so I'm not going to exhaust the staff report again. Basically, we do per our municipal code, we set our meetings by resolution, the meeting date and time. In order to be able to plan the year, we present an annual calendar. The calendar that we provided tonight is, you said, Mayor Lowe, is not been changed, and there are some reasonings for that. One of the big one we had a couple of dates that had come up specific to, and I believe it was the 2 high holidays. And when staff looked at that to look at some of, what other holidays and that might come up, we found there were over 70 holidays, 70 what are considered high holy days. And so we want to remind council, you can set it on any day you want, regardless of what it is. And so you're very welcome to change that date. If you want to start basing if you want to start looking at all of those dates, I just would like a little bit more direction how robust we want to go. But the council can set and change any date they want, regardless of the purpose. I just want to put that out there. And I don't mean any disrespect in that. When we were looking at it, I don't know how far we want to go with it.
I understand that there's a learning curve in terms of, okay. Let's open it up to questions, and then we'll take comments. Any questions regarding the staff report or anything on the calendar in general? Yes, sir.
I would like to suggest that we continue working through July. Just seems to me there's plenty of work to do.
So the suggestion is that we add dates in July. Okay, any other questions or concerns regarding the calendar? Mr. Wellinger?
I Going to second that. I think that at least would be worthy of further discussion about the legitimacy or not.
Okay, well, let's have that conversation, shall we? I mean, there really aren't a lot of questions to ask about the calendar. It is what it is. So let's open it to the public real quick, and then we'll come back and then have our discussion regarding dates. And as I remember my preface earlier, calendar is the hardest thing that we do. Everything else is easy. Okay, are there any comments from the public regarding the calendar? How about on Zoom? Any comments? Okay, so let's bring this back and let's have the conversation regarding July, and let's have the conversation regarding holidays that are widely observed and might possibly impact our meetings. So let's start with July, shall we? You want to? Since you brought it up first, you want to talk about that, and let's see where we go with it.
I just think that, we made a commitment to the community to do the community's business, and I think that taking the month of July off is not really very productive. And that's it.
Any further comment regarding July? Mr. Dean?
I agree with the Vice Mayor Gurney's idea, intention is good, but technically, if the machine is running, and we should have the pause and give the time adjusted by yourself. Not only our the city council member, also the staff, have a little bit of break, and also we can technically rearrange those kind of item agenda, and for example, and more in the June, and more in the August, and also don't forget anytime if we have any issues, which is really urgent, we can propose special meeting.
Ms. Ferrar-Ribas, do you have a position on July?
Yeah, I also, I understand the service and believe that service comes first to the community. I actually believe that people provide better service in their jobs to the community when they have breaks. And I think that it's not unusual for city governments, state governments, federal governments to take breaks. And to be able to take that time to reflect on the work that you're doing. To take more time to be able to read about other things that you may want to be able to work on when you come back. I think it's just a very healthy thing to do. I think, that we are far behind other countries in certainly European standards of what people have for taking time off and what that does in regards to their ability to come back and work better. So I really like the July day, and I realized that we could, if we needed to, call a special meeting. I think it's difficult, the schedule for staff there isn't really a time in the year when they can take a break. I think this also gives time for people that have children or grandchildren that are out of school at that time to have time to plan a vacation.
I want to have a question of staff, and that is, during that July no city council break, that doesn't mean that the city staff is still working, et cetera, et cetera. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah, we're still open for business and conducting city business. The July break was a consideration of the city council, really, in order to allow the city council to schedule vacations, because what was happening was that city council members weren't able to plan along an extended vacation around a full calendar and so members were missing meetings of important issues that they wanted to weigh in on. And then they were asking that those items be continued to another meeting when they would be there. And then you'd have another city council member that wasn't there because they planned their vacation then. So The reason, this was a convenience item on the part of the city council. It wasn't anything that staff requested, although there's a related benefit to staff, because when we have to prepare agendas, there's a lot of work that goes into that. But that said, that's the reasoning behind it, is that at one point, we were having to extend items to accommodate council members that were gone. And this allowed the full council to take time off in July. And that's one of the main reasons for this.
Thank you for that clarification. So, hearing that, I'm comfortable with adding a date in July, perhaps. We have the 4th of July in the first week, and I don't see any point in putting a meeting date on the 5th of July. I mean, this is, but perhaps the 19th of July, and then the council can always decide to cancel that meeting. But to put in a placeholder, would that meet your interest?
I think that's a great compromise at this point, and I think really we can take a look at how things evolve in 2023, and we can revisit this in 4, just like it didn't always happen, but then there was a need that our acting city manager so clearly depicted, which is legit. So I would support that.
Okay, so the suggestion is to add the 19th of July to the calendar, with the stipulation that we can always decide to cancel that date. All right, so that one's hanging out there. Do we have a consensus on that, or do you want to keep working on that? Does that work for people?
I think that sounds great.
That sounds good. Okay, good. So we'll do that. So any other, so let's go to my issue on the 5th, I believe it's the 5th of April. So the celebration of Passover is an important one in the Jewish calendar. And it does mean that people have what they call a Seder in their home, where it takes a lot of work to put that together. And asking and putting a meeting on that date would really be prohibitive to people who celebrate that. It's not like something, I can go to church during the day and I got, it's an evening event that's in people's homes. And it's one of great importance. So my suggestion is that we look at that April 5th date and perhaps make a suggestion of either moving it to the next day, even though it's a week-long holiday. It's typically celebrated on the first night, and I think that would be a reasonable thing to move it to a Thursday that week. That's one suggestion. Mr. Wellender.
Another alternative would be just to take those 2 meetings and slip them 1 week each. So we'd be coming down to the 12th and the 26th. And then we still have a separation between the 2 meetings. It's still on Wednesdays. Just an idea.
I'm fine with that. Any comments to that, Ms. Barr?
One comment to that, yes. If you notice the green bar across the 12th, 11th, 12th, and 13th, 14th, that is the Planning Commissioner Academy. And 2 of you have already expressed desire to attend that to get more land use planning.
Oh.
So 2 of you will already be.
League of California Cities. Okay.
Cal Cities event.
You could.
Another
Just one more suggestion. In the past, what we've done is if we've had a Wednesday, because we used to meet on Mondays, we would move the meeting to a Monday. So you might want to move it to the 3rd.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Mr. Gurney?
I was just going to suggest that.
The 3rd?
Yeah.
Does that work for people? Thank you. Mr. Wellender, does that work for you? Okay, great. Thank you very much. I think that's helps our families out there feel like they're included in our processes. All right, any other, now remember, we can always bring back calendar, okay? No, I'm here. This is it, set in
This was
stone.
not that hard.
I know, because you guys are awesome, that's right.
Mayor Lowe, may
Yes.
I ask for one concession to the city clerk? In December, as you might remember, last week after the council meeting on Wednesday night, I drove to Monterey because that's our most important new law and election seminar. And it always falls during the same week as this. Could we possibly move the December meeting to December 4th, the Monday?
I don't have a problem with that. Does anyone have a problem with that?
No problem.
No, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for letting us know.
Thank you so much.
No, absolutely. That's what this is all about. Okay, so with those two, the addition of the July meeting, the moving of the December meeting, and the April meeting, do we have a motion to accept the resolution as amended?
I'll make a motion to accept the resolution as amended with those 3 dates.
Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Ms. Farrar Rivas. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, if the clerk would call the roll, please.
Councilmember Farrar Rivas.
Aye.
I'm going to get that.
You
Vice
got
Mayor
it.
Gurney.
Yes.
Councilmember Wellender.
Yes.
Councilmember Ding.
Aye.
Mayor Lowe.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries unanimously. And thank you, council.
Thank you. We're on item 7, council members' reports. I don't think anybody's gone to any committees. Perhaps I have. But any other comments? I'd like this to be a time where you can share just what you're doing. It may be a committee meeting. It may be just something that you're involved in the community that you'd like to share. I really hope that this council is one that people will get to know, and we have lives outside of committee meetings and important things that happen in our lives, and I hope that you will use this time to share. So anyone have anything they'd like to share at this time? Mr. Ding, your light is on. Every time it's on, I think you're going to say something. Do you have anything to share?
One thing I just want to say thank you for Wayne Wyrick. At a special another time, is standing up, and also that is a good and work with the county for our warming center.
Yes.
Appreciate so many of the people are grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Ding. I think we all agree with that comment. Any other comments? Mr. Wellender?
I may not be commenting within the description, but I do have a concern that relates to our council as well as our staff. May I
Please.
express my concern?
I think it's a good point to do it. Well, I'll call you out of order if it's not.
Thank you. I recognize that we're still in this transitional period where we have graciously accepted Wayne's, he has graciously accepted our request to fill in his acting, and then we've got Mr. Mark Linder coming in, I believe it's January 2nd or 3rd. And I do recognize, as was shared this evening, that Mr. Linder, being a renewant, or what's the term, has 737 hours. And likewise, we have the similar situation with our interim planning director. And she has a number of hours that is going to be possible. My concern is that we're going to find the great candidate, and that candidate will accept the position, but he may or she may be in a position where he has to give notice. So we're going to stretch out potentially another 30 days or longer. And I know that coming from the Planning Commission and being very mindful of what has been on the dockets and what is currently on the dockets, I'm concerned about how we structure the hours of the interim planning director and how we can best use her hours that are available. And I think there could be some similarity concerned about Mr. Linder's. Not that I haven't met him yet, I think it would be great, but my point is that he is locked in with limited hours, and I would hate us to find ourselves in a situation where we either have to go back to an internal acting, which is fine, I guess, if that's an option, but I just think that it's worth some thought and discussion whether or not we need to look at that calendar and say we got 2 professionals here, but they're handcuffed by Sacramento, And therefore, what can we just have a discussion about that? Not particularly
Yeah.
tonight.
Well, let's put this on for further discussion, because this would be an item that has not been agendized. And so but this is an absolutely perfect time to bring up things that should be agendized. And I think that let's have a full discussion of that when we can also have staff present us with some data to help us inform our opinions on that. Okay, but thank you for that, because it's a good point. Ms. Ferrer-Rivas, I noticed that you've got an interesting headdress on there. Does that mean you have a comment related to something?
No, I just think you're all very dear, all of you. Everyone in Sonoma, thank you.
We almost got through an entire meeting without a pun regarding animals. Oh, well, we'll do better next time. Any other comments? I did attend the Sonoma County Transportation Authority meeting this week, which had an extensive item regarding one of our favorite roads, Highway 37. And the presentation was quite long and specific with regard to the options and the cost of putting in the causeway, which is which everybody, the staff agreed and the SCTA approved as the option. That will also entail some expansion of the current roadway going east of Sears Point. At some point, I'd like, because I think that particular stretch of road is so integral to us in Sonoma, I'd like to also see if we can agendize either a presentation, a briefer presentation. It was a very long presentation about what the plans are for Highway 37. So that was a good meeting, but I can give you a spoiler alert. It's going to take a long time and a lot of money, yes. But they're going to start, but you have to start.
Madam Mayor, do you just want to share, too, that you will be representing us, is it tomorrow or Friday, regarding SDC?
Oh, everybody, there's a meeting on Friday regarding it's a special Board of Supervisors meeting regarding the Sonoma Developmental Center project. And we have sent several letters, and I invite all of you to listen, participate, comment. I can send around the link if you need it. Just let me know. But this Board of Supervisors will probably take action on the plan on Friday. But thank you for that. Anything else?
Friday is 8:30. Yeah, 8:30.
8:30? Mm-hmm. I thought it was 11. Mm-hmm. I better go back and check my calendar.
8:30 in the morning.
8:30 in the morning.
In
Okay.
Santa Rosa.
It'll be on Zoom as well. Okay, so we are at city manager comments, and I know that you wanted to say something regarding the warming centers, et cetera, so please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the council. I just wanted to give a very brief presentation, or briefing, if you will, about the warming centers and what's gone on there. I know I've at least sent out an email to all of you regarding the warming centers status and openings, but as a result of the sub-freezing temperatures that occurred both in the very beginning of the month on the 2nd and 3rd of December, as well as this week, we unilaterally with the County of Sonoma and some nonprofit organizations have opened up a warming center at the Vets Building. I would remind the council that we don't have any specific plan or policy regarding this issue. We are undergoing a draft update of our emergency plan, which will incorporate an annex related to this, both warming and cooling centers. So we're in the process of trying to develop a plan, but right now we're shooting from the hip, so to speak, and just trying to, we're being reactive. to the conditions that are occurring and trying to keep people safe. But I did want to let you know that we are planning on extending the time. We initially opened it up on Monday for 3 days, and now we're extending it on through Saturday into Sunday morning for this event. The forecast is for sub-freezing temperatures during that entire time in terms of overnight lows. So right now, the census has been, in fact, since we started doing this, we've had 4 nights of data basically so far that we've been able to report on, and we're averaging 5 people per night. And we're spending a considerable amount of resource and time to put this all together. It's not efficient. It's not a it may be effective, but it's not a good model moving forward. So we want to utilize volunteer resources when possible, and we're trying to do that right now. As a matter of fact, all of the staffing that's being done, not all of the staffing, there's volunteer staffing that we're relying on in order to keep the shelters open. We have some county staff and janitorial contracts and security contracts that we will be contributing toward. So there is some paid staff, but we're really relying on the volunteers to help us out in staffing this, and we've put an all-call out to lots of organizations to try to solicit staff, and I think Mayor Ding has, in fact, volunteered for that. So wanted to thank Lisa Jansen, who's serving as the Warming Center manager on behalf of the city and really organized everything, including all the scheduling, and Sarah Tracy, who's doing our public information outreach, where we have reached out to our homeless service providers to try to get the word out to the folks that need the service, and we're doing pretty good. I did a quick calculation, and we've expended, I think, by the end of this event on Sunday, the rough costs are probably taking up about 80% of what we budgeted for emergency response for the year. So it's not cheap moving forward, and these are estimates because we don't have all the numbers in, even from the first warming center. But I did want to give you an update so that you had sort of an understanding what's going on. First of all, any questions regarding the warming center?
Just a comment that I recognize this is a costly venture, but every time there's an emergency call and there's an ambulance and so forth, that is also an extremely costly way to do management of emergencies. And so none of it is, we don't like any of it, but there's not a lot of options, unfortunately. But thank you. I just thank you for doing this. Thank you. Any other questions of the city manager?
How is the volunteering going? Are you filling up those slots?
We are managing. We're good for tonight, and we have some slots filled for the following evening. And Lisa's been working hard to try to fill those slots, and they've been trickling in. And we put out another sort of request from our community. We had a community partner meeting earlier today, and we put out a request with them. We're working with the community center, and several nonprofit organizations and local community partners to try to fill the gap. And people have been stepping up, so it's been good. So we're not there yet. We're not scheduled out through Sunday, but we're working on it. I would also like to add that the city clerk has an announcement as well.
Oh, please.
Just, I want to let everyone know that right before the meeting, I did issue a press release extending the deadline for the alcalde to December 31st. I didn't have the opportunity prior to this meeting to add it to the website. I'll be doing that first thing tomorrow morning. I'll also be issuing a press release in the morning extending the deadline for commissions and committees to December 31st. And that'll also go up on the website.
Might I suggest that we, extending it to December 31st, I don't think, I'm sort of going back to Mr. Wellender's comments earlier today. I don't think anyone's thinking about, let me see, checking my list, checking it twice, have I applied for this committee yet? I don't think so. So I'd like to suggest we extend that into January. Realistically, I don't think we're going to, this is a time that we could get a lot of applications.
Per your policy, I'm supposed to have the applications to you 15 days prior to the consideration, which is the 23rd. If you want to, in order for us, because we're going to be putting together, we already have about 45 applications. And for us to pull those all out, cull them, see who's eligible, who's not, if you guys would consider waiving that part of your policy that you don't have to have them. I don't know that we're going to have the, if we extend it too far into January, it doesn't give us staff much time to make that 15-day window. So if the council's willing to take that, that's also set for you to be able to review those applications and then reach out to individuals if you want to talk with them. Because this is the process. This is the big one. This is where you'll each make, except for Councilmember Dean, you'll each make a direct appointment to every commission and committee. So it is. I mean, there's a lot to it for you as well. So that's why I went to December 31st.
And then that's to give 15 days for the first meeting in January.
At the meeting in January, the 23rd is when you'll make these appointments for February 1st, because that's when they start their terms.
I see.
And then a comment,
yeah.
Wallender.
Did you have a comment? Yes, please.
A question, really. Can you give us just a rough idea as far as how the responses have been per the commissions? Because I know, for instance, with the planning commission, we have a huge rollover. Have we been getting 6, 7 for?
I can share with you, I believe every one of the current planning commissioners have reapplied.
Okay.
The majority of the applications have been for the pros and the CAC.
Okay.
That's where the majority of there's not a lot of depth in the others.
Okay.
I believe at the Cultural and Fine Arts Commission, I think all but one is reapplying of your current commissioners. The design review doesn't look as promising.
Okay.
So the big interest right now is on the pros and the CAC. So if you know someone, we do have enough applications to fill the planning commission. And I think we have enough to fill, if you take exactly what we have right now, possibly each of the commissions.
So we could go out and try to encourage and recruit.
I would suggest that.
Yeah, I mean, and we've been trying. I know everybody's been trying, but I just feel like these committees are important, and perhaps some of them, if there's a lot of applications, we could close it on the 31st, but the ones that we don't have many applications, maybe we can extend that one, and they don't have, they don't start till March 1st or February 15th or something like that. It's, it doesn't seem like, the calendar should drive what's going to be 2 years of work, to rush to do it. If there's, 5 applicants and 5 positions and, we had a gentleman come tonight talking about how important it was that we have the commission regarding the environment. We'd like to, make sure that happens. I don't know. I'd like to see if we can get the schools to help us get a youth member on each of these commissions as well. It sounds like the planning commission is pretty much on track because people know about that. But the other ones, is there a way at the first meeting in January we can decide to extend the deadline based on few applications or something like that?
You can always do that, Mayor Lowe. It's just changing people's terms, which is why we went to the situation we're in, because for us to manage terms that are different from everyone's, makes it very, it makes it more difficult. Then you have the lapse of the one term ends, the other term doesn't start. Someone may not be willing to stay another month and a half on a commission that they don't want to reapply
I'm not
for.
asking people to stay an extra one. I'm talking about starting it. Some of these are new commissions we haven't even started yet. There's no holdover. They're brand new.
No, I understand that. I'd understood you to say that we could stop the deadline on the 31st and appoint the pros and the CAC on January and extend the others if we needed to and go to February or March. And that's where I'm saying you may have a lapse where you don't have a quorum on a commission because someone didn't want to reapply for that period because the term ended on January 31st. So for February and March, you may not have a meeting because you don't have a full commission or quorum.
I understand. Yes, Mr. Long.
I have been negligent in my recruitment. I guess part of it is just trying to get in line to be able to contribute here. But I, having kind of experienced that on a couple of commissions and knowing that the calendar is pretty, not imperative, but it makes the wheels go more smoothly, I might suggest that maybe if we could get some sort of breakdown as far as where we're at so we know where things are kind of light, then maybe we can take it upon ourselves, at least I will, to go out and kind of try to do some recruiting. I love the fact that the existing planning commissioners have re-upped at least an application form, because I was very pleased with what we had before, but I also would love to see that a little bit of new blood would also be good. So
I just have a feeling that, it doesn't mean we have to hold a committee meeting, and risk lack of quorum or whatever. I mean, it's more important to have a committee that's fully enrolled and we have everyone there. And I just don't think, I've been trying to, I've pitched it to the papers. In fact, there was an editorial regarding committees in the Index Tribune. I say it everywhere I go. It's this time of year, extending something to the 31st, I just don't think it's going to help us. And I would, I think we can be fine. I think it's fine with the Planning Commission. I'm happy with that one. It sounds like the ones that we have applications in, we should extend it to that point and appoint them, and the other ones we should extend the timeline to make sure we have full applicants. That's just kind of where I'm coming from.
We could, if we extended it to January 9th, then we would have 2 weeks before the 23rd. But then do you need some time? You need time to prep it too. I understand that. Okay.
Every application has to be reviewed and pulled out, and we've been trying. I was just looking at a spreadsheet that Monique has been keeping for me. And I was just going to do a quick sort to see, because it looks like it was actually updated yesterday. Sorry. My brain is not working on sorting right at the moment. My apologies. Let's see. Sort from sort on D. Okay. So as of right now, we have 18 applications for climate action, or I'm sorry, 17. Oh, the summary. Haha. Sorry, look at that. She's way ahead of me. So we have 20 applications for climate action. We have 17 for the pros. We have 10 for the Planning Commission, 7 for the Cultural and Fine Arts. We have 4 for the Sonoma Valley Citizens Advisory Commission, which that one is a different process. It doesn't come to you as a whole until after the mayor, which we'll talk on Monday. And Design Review has 5 applications. And the Traffic Safety Committee has 2. The Sonoma Valley Groundwater Sustainability Agency Water Advisory Committee has 1, which is again a mayor appointment. And then the Marin Sonoma Mosquito Vector Contract District Board of Trustees has 1, and that is the individual who is the incumbent and serving. So that's where you're sitting right now. And I believe we I think, you didn't update this today, did you? And I know we received a couple more applications today.
So I'm hearing design review, traffic. Let's not talk about the wastewater, the ones that are mayoral. Let's just talk about the ones that we all appoint. So, cultural and fine arts, design review, and traffic. Those three. So, I'd like to suggest that we extend just those three until the 9th. So you won't have to, and then the other ones will end on the 31st. And so there will be some extra work, but it'll only be on those three. And in that case, and we might not be able to, and if it's not ready, we won't appoint them until the subsequent January meeting. That's fine, because they can't meet without a quorum anyway.
It'd be the February meeting.
February meeting.
And what we'll do too, thinking through this through, the ones that close on the 31st, we'll get those applications culled and sent to the council prior to, as soon as we get them done. So you'll have those in time. We can start with the ones we have, start culling them now. Now that you're all on board and I've got you guys pretty much going, we can turn our attention more where I can work with Monique to look at these and help review the applications. So we can start getting that, and we'll be able to, if we are able to stop the ones as of the 31st and get that work done, because that's a huge majority of it.
Yeah, well, that makes sense, and that's why it was important to have those numbers, and that's why I always like to have this item on the agenda, because it gives us a placeholder for having these conversations. Otherwise, it's difficult. So, all right, so do you have enough direction on that?
Yeah, I can't really, I hear you, since it's a committee report. We can't, I don't think we can talk formal action, but I hear what you've said.
Okay, well, I heard what I said too, so that's two of us, so we both heard it. Okay, and it's recorded. Okay, very good. Any further comments on committee and commission? Okay, hearing none. All right. And so we are at adjournment, and without, I didn't, city attorney, I'm so sorry. City attorney,
I
please.
just wanted to, since I wasn't here at the
Thank
last meeting, I wanted to welcome our new council members and congratulate our new mayor and vice mayor for their appointments. But other than that, I just would wish everybody a happy holidays.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
And same to you, and thank you for all of your good advice during this transition. It was most appreciated. Thank you so much. All right, so did I forget anything else, Vice Mayor? All right. Thank you. Motion to adjourn, non-debatable. So moved. Second. Thank you so much.
Awesome.